Hello, everybody, and welcome into TD Ameritrade Park, right on the banks of the Missouri River, for some Big Ten tournament action brought to you by WCBN Sports. I'm Austin Falco alongside Nick Hornberg, bringing you some first-round action. The Ohio State Buckeyes, number 7 seeded, against the number 2 seeded Michigan Wolverines. As I said, Austin Falco alongside Nick Hornberg here in a rematch from a series earlier on in the season between these two teams. Since then, these two teams somewhat in opposite directions. Michigan finishing near the top of the conference. Ohio State barely sneaking in on the last weekend.
Indeed, Ohio State taking 2 of 3 in that series, one of only 3 series in conference season that Michigan lost. However, that was a big one, as well as Michigan not closing the season as well as they would have hoped, losing each of their last 2 series, losing 2 out of 3 at home against Indiana, as well as losing 2 out of 3 on the road in Lincoln against Nebraska. A stretch of games that effectively derailed their regular season Big Ten title hopes, ultimately losing out to Indiana by half a game, a canceled game against Michigan State playing as the difference. And it's very disappointing now, but now it's on Coach Bakich to get his team refocused and to get them to play in the tournament, as they are still one of the premier teams in the Big Ten Conference.
Ohio State, as the lower-seeded team, is the away team, and they bat first. The lineup they send to the plate: Dominic Canzone is the right fielder and bats first. He's striding up there right now. Matt Carpenter bats second and plays second. Batting third is the catcher, Dylan Dingler. Brady Cherry, the big left fielder, bats in the cleanup spot. Connor Pohl plays first base and bats fifth. Batting sixth, the designated hitter, Brent Totis. Zach DeZenzo, the shortstop, bats seventh. Batting eighth is the center fielder, Ridge Winand. And Nick Irwin bats ninth, the third baseman. Kyle Kaufman's on the mound for Michigan. He fires a first pitch fastball that misses outside of Dominic Canzone, and we are underway here in the first round of the Big Ten tournament. Kaufman, the junior right-hander for Michigan, became the Friday starter halfway through the season, fires a 1-0 pitch that misses low. The count now 2-0.
And Ohio State starts out one of the strongest leadoff men in the country in Dominic Canzone, 357 average, a 4.42 on-base percentage. The one of only 2 hitters in the Ohio State lineup hitting over 300.
Kaufman winds up. 2-0 pitch, misses low, and now it's 3-0 on Canzone. As you mentioned, one of the best leadoff hitters in the conference or in the country altogether. Chance to use that 4.42 on-base percentage up in the count, 3-0. Kaufman gets his sign, now winds up. 3-0 pitch. Misses low and in, ball 4. Ohio State starts things off on a high note with a leadoff walk on his 4 pitches. Canzone will be on first base for Matt Carpenter, the second baseman.
Well, Canzone also leads the Buckeyes in home runs, hitting 15 on the season, a slugging percentage of 643, an OPS of nearly 1,100. And really, it's a situation where there's really no right way to pitch to Dominic Canzone. You try and give him something to hit. He very well take you the yard, but this time Kaufman really looked like opting to pitch around him.
Switch hitter is the second baseman, Carpenter, batting from the left side against the right-handed throwing Kaufman. Kaufman checks the runner over there at first, Canzone. Canzone does have 8 steals on the season, but a short lead here. As first pitch grounded towards third. Fielded by Blake Nelson. Goes to second for 1. Goes to first base on the relay. Not in time. Oddly enough, a 5-6 put-out over there at second base as Michigan was shifted. Jack Blomgren took the throw from Blake Nelson at second base. Fired over Jimmy Kerr, it bounced in the dirt, and was just a little bit too late to get Carpenter.
Well, getting the lead run was big. Unfortunately, not able to turn the double play, and you see potentially plays like that there. Those are the fine margins that can make a difference in a game in a lot of ways, and it's particularly Michigan in their last 2 series that largely undid their Big Ten title hopes. A lot of the issues that came up to hit them when it hurt were miscues on the defense. Now there was no error there. But it remains, that was a play that they very well could have made and did not.
Dylan Dingler takes the first pitch low and away for ball 1 from Kaufman. Run on first is Matt Carpenter now. He places Canzone. A slight drop off in speed, but not a whole lot. We saw Carpenter really booking it down the line there on a hard hit ball to third base. Dingler, the catcher today for the Ohio State Buckeyes, comes in batting .282 on the season. Fouls one off the screen near the Ohio State dugout. And the count evens itself up at 1-1. She said Dingler, .282 on the season in the batting average department, .384 on base percentage, is a patient hitter, walks more than he strikes out on the year. Righty-righty matchup here. Kaufman works all the way from the first base side of the rubber as he checks the runner on first. Big lead over there for Carpenter. The biggest one we've seen so far out of the first 2 batters, at least. And this one is fouled back just below us here in the booth. And the count now is 1-2.
Well, that's a common trait among catchers at every level of baseball, college and professional, is that catchers tend to have very high on-base percentage. A lot of that's just from seeing the pitches and framing them. Generally, catchers tend to have very good eye, and Dylan Dingler is no exception.
Kaufman ahead in the count for the first time today at 1-2. Checks the runner again over there, Carpenter. Now comes set and fires 1-2 pitch. This one's grounded towards the second base hole. K.O. Thomas going to make the play, spins and fires to first, and Jimmy Kerr makes the play as he goes into the baseline and catches on a short hop. Ohio State thinks Kerr came off the bag, but first base umpire over there, Jeff Doy, said out at first base.
And Jimmy Kerr has come under a lot of criticism throughout the season for his defensive play at first base, and that very well could have been a scary play as the throw coming way out to his right, but excellent effort by Jimmy Kerr to lay out and stay and keep his foot on the bag. But you see there another potentially scary play for the Michigan defense.
Now comes the scary senior left fielder, though, for Ohio State, Brady Cherry, with a runner in scoring position. We are going to get what looks to be an umpires meeting. Third base coach for the Buckeyes went over to Jeff Doy to argue the call and wants to see if home plate umpire Josh Shepis perhaps saw if Kerr's foot came off the bag.
Well, they've showed it a couple times on the TV up in our booth, and it looks very much like Kerr was still on the bag.
Greg Beals, the head coach for the Buckeyes, arguing, but looks like no change in the call. Or actually, no, we're going to get a little replay review here. We do have replay review here at the Big Ten baseball tournament in Omaha. So we're going to see our first one of the day, first one of the season for the Michigan Wolverines. Like you said, I don't think we've had a really good look at it quite yet. Can't quite tell if Kerr came off the bag. Admittedly, from up here, it looked like that toe may have just made its way off of that first base bag. He was stretching down the first base line to the right field corner to make the play off the slightly errant throw by K.O. Thomas.
And Josh Shepis coming over there and talking it over with Michigan head coach Eric Bakich for a little bit. Looks like Ohio State and Greg Beals is going to challenge the play. It's initiated by the Ohio State coach and not the umpiring crew themselves, as Shepis is going down below beneath the dugout to take a look.
So Kaufman will keep warming up here. As it stands right now, on second base is Matt Carpenter with Brady Cherry coming up to bat. Should this call be overturned, it'll be runners on first and second for Cherry. But like I said, unexperienced in this area are the Wolverines this season. Obviously, haven't had replay in most of the season until we came here to Omaha. And beautiful park here in Omaha. Beautiful day for the first day of the Big Ten baseball tournaments. We had another look here, and it looks like he definitely is out.
And looking over, I can understand why Greg Beals thinks that Kerr is dragged off. He doesn't have the greatest of angles looking at it, but Jimmy Kerr, excellent work keeping that toe on the corner of the bag.
I don't even think it was just a toe. I think he had just about half his foot on the bag. The entire right side of his right foot looked like it was on the bag the entire time until he caught that ball and got it in his glove.
Yeah, and that's a hard throw for K.O. Thomas to make. He's falling away from first base and has to get that across his body. And honestly, the more I look at it, it looks more like it's not even close. Jimmy Kerr is absolutely standing on the bag.
Long review here in just the first inning of the Big Ten baseball tournament. You're behind by about 11 minutes. The call at first is out, says the third base umpire over there, David Ewell. The crew chief, I believe, today is Ewell. He makes the signal. It is indeed an out at first base. Dylan Dingler grounds out to a K.O. Thomas, and now there is 2 outs here in the first inning. Brady Cherry, the big left fielder for Ohio State, bats .304 on the year, 14 home runs, leads the Buckeyes in RBIs at 45. A chance to tack one on here and take an early lead in this first-round Big Ten tournament matchup. First pitch to him bounces in the dirt, stopped by Donovan behind the plate, and keeps Carpenter out there at second base. Cherry has been a mainstay at Ohio State over his time in Columbus. Definitely one of the best hitters in this Buckeye lineup. He's ready for what is going to be a 1-0 pitch from Kaufman. Kaufman checks the runner. Pitch on the way. Foul back to the screen. It's 1-1. Cherry overall Has played all 4 years in Columbus. 35 games started his freshman year, and 53, 41, and 55 this season. Started every single game for the Buckeyes, has the senior. Kaufman comes set. 1-1 pitch. Call. Strike on the outside corner. It's 1-2 now.
Well, it's been an illustrious career for Brady Cherry in Columbus. Now in his last season, in his last tournament, Ohio State very likely will not be making the NCAA tournament at large. So as a result, Cherry right now is playing he's going to be playing his last stretch of games, and TD Ameritrade Park will be his last hurrah as an Ohio State player.
That is barring a Big Ten tournament win for the Buckeyes, as a 1-2 pitch is fouled off. Remains 1-2. Obviously, the winner of the Big Ten baseball tournament gets the Big Ten's automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. Right now, if you look at some of the projections on Baseball America, there's about 5 teams into the Big Ten tournament, or rather into the NCAA tournament for the Big Ten. Michigan, a team we saw the game beforehand in Illinois. Indiana, #1 seed, who plays Iowa, another team projected to be into the NCAA tournament, despite a bad last weekend, as a 1-2 pitch bounces in the dirt again. Stopped by Donovan. Nebraska, the de facto hometown team. Minnesota also fighting for a spot. They're the 4 seed. They play Nebraska later on. A lot of good teams in the Big Ten. It's pretty much what it comes down to. And the teams that aren't currently sitting in good position, Maryland, Ohio State, those teams maybe on the bubble in Iowa and Maryland, really fighting to get that automatic bid and put their minds at ease on Selection Sunday. Ground ball hit to Akeo Thomas at second base. Barely has to move. He fields, throws to first in time for out number 3. So that inning for the Buckeyes, no runs, no hits, no errors. They leave 1 left on base. We'll head to the bottom of the first. The score, Ohio State 0, Michigan coming up on the official student radio broadcast for Michigan Baseball. You're listening to WCBN Sports. We thank you for tuning in today for some Big Ten tournament action.
And that was what they needed to start for Michigan. A lot of times in the last few weeks, they've really had rough starts to games. Karl Kaufman, very important, being able to pitch 1 scoreless inning, including, he did give up the 1 walk to Canzone, but as we've stated, Canzone led Ohio State in walks on the season with 29. Isn't necessarily any shame in that, but Karl Kaufman only throwing 14 pitches and facing 4 batters. Is it optimal? Probably not, but it is about what you need. That's what you need to get into this game.
Especially in tournament play, pitch count is at a premium here. You don't want to have to dig into your bullpen too early. And already a solid start for Karl Kaufman. It'll be up to the Wolverines to give him a little run support now, and their lineup is as follows. Jordan Wogu is the designated hitter. He bats first for the Wolverines. Center fielder Jesse Franklin bats in the 2 hole. Batting third, Big Ten Baseball Player of the Year, Jordan Brewer, playing right field for the Wolverines today. Jack Blomgren, the shortstop, in the cleanup hole. Joe Donovan behind the plate, bats 5th. Jimmy Kerr batting 6th, plays first base. Batting 7th, playing left field, Miles Lewis. Blake Nelson plays third base and bats 8th. And batting 9th, rounding out the lineup, is the second baseman, Akeo Thomas.
Head coach Eric Backich has been shuffling the deck chairs in the lineup for the last couple weeks, and it looks like that experimentation will continue. Jack Blomgren hitting in the 4 hole, not what you'd expect from a typical cleanup hitter, as only hitting 3 home runs on the season, but he has been a revelation on offense this season after last season as a freshman. Really poor behind the plate in the lineup because of his defensive ability, but now hitting .314 on the season, 3 homers, 36 RBIs, an on-base percentage of .418. Really has taken a massive turn as a sophomore for this Wolverine program.
The pitcher they will have to face today for Ohio State is Seth Lonsway, the freshman. When we say he started from day 1, he literally started from day 1. His first game on campus as a freshman. He started opening day. Overall in the season, he's going to make his 15th start. He's 7-4 with a .391 ERA overall. Pitched in 78 1/3 innings this year. Struck out 110 batters. Walked 48. Batters hit .225 against the freshman left-hander. Lonsway is ready. Wogu's at the plate. First pitch fastball called. Strike 1.
And Jordan Wogu considered to be was considered the scariest leadoff hitter in baseball by his head coach, Eric Bakich, and while that may be a bit of a stretch, no denying he's had a special season hitting leadoff.
Second pitch of the at-bat misses low and away. It's 1-1. You mentioned the numbers for Wogu. They say the scariest leadoff hitter in college baseball. He does a really good job of hitting his home runs with guys on base later in the game, too. He's not that he's necessarily trying to preserve his home runs. You don't necessarily do that, but it sure seems like earlier on in the game he gets a feel for pitchers, gets on the base with walks and base hits, and later in the game he really brings the power as the 1-1 pitch missed high for ball 2, and now a 2-1 pitch on the way. Misses low and away, ball 3.
And it's be natural to compare Jordan Wogu to his Buckeye counterpart, Dominic Canzone. Wogu hitting 343, 14 points lower than Canzone's 357, as well as hitting less home runs, 9 against 15, and 34 RBIs against 41.
Swing there, the 3-1 fouled back to the screen, and now it's 3-2.
However, the advantage is on-base percentage. Jordan Wogu, 34 walks on the season for a 465 on-base percentage. Canzone, only 29 walks on 442 on-base percentage. And Wogu, 14 stolen bases against Canzone's 8.
Winding up now, payoff pitch. Swing and a miss at a high fastball, strike 3. Hard to get Jordan Wogu to strike out, but Lansway really showing off that big arm there. And there's one out in the bottom of the first.
Well, Lansway already is working extremely fast between pitches. We can't even get a whole lot of words out between Lansway's pitches, and I think there the pace just worked against Wogu. That fastball from here, I know our view is not great up here in the radio booth, so we can't really see directly behind the plate, but that pitch looked high and inside, and Wogu held up. Very likely would have been ball 4, but eventually that pace, it works against you. It gets in your head as a hitter.
So a 6-pitch strikeout to start things brings up Jesse Franklin. Lefty-lefty matchup called. Strike on the outside corner for the 0-1 count. We got a matchup of all Big Ten third-team honorees today in Kaufman and Lansway. As the 0-1 pitch, breaking ball misses high. It's 1-1. Jesse Franklin, also a Big Ten third-team honoree. Franklin, 247 batting average on the air, but a 387 on base percentage as he takes a pitch low and in for ball 2. Trying to hold it there for an extra beat was the catcher Dingler, but couldn't get the call from home plate umpire Josh Shepis. As I said, Lansway works quickly and now ready for a 2-1 pitch. Here it comes. Foul back to the screen. It's now 2-2.
And Jesse Franklin came on the scene in a big way last season as a freshman, finalist for Big Ten Freshman of the Year. The average hasn't really been what it was. Only hit 247 on the season, 12 home runs, 40 RBIs, but high on base percentage. Jesse Franklin still a tough out at the plate.
2-2 pitch to him. Breaking ball in the dirt. Taken for ball 3. Nice stop back there by all Big Ten second team honoree Dylan Dingler behind the plate. The count has run full. Very young Ohio State team. A lot of young guys getting honored on these all Big Ten teams. Lansway and Dingler are 2 of them. As the payoff pitch misses just low, ball 4. Franklin, very confident take there. He'll stride on down to first base for Michigan's first base runner of the game here in the bottom of the first. That will bring up a man who, when we're talking about all Big Ten honorees, you can't get any higher than what he did. Jordan Brewer, the Big Ten Baseball Player of the Year, coming up to the plate.
Well, Jordan Brewer coming out of nowhere this season, transferring in from, I believe it was community college, and immediately jumping straight onto the scene, displacing Christian Bullock out in the outfield. Christian Bullock, a solid player for the Wolverines in his Michigan career, but Jordan Brewer has quite simply pushed him aside in a big way.
And Brewer on the season, 358 batting average, leads the Big Ten. Right near the top of categories in the slugging percentage department, on base percentage, home runs, RBIs. He's all across the leaderboard, steals as well, does it all, and plays great defense, specifically with that arm in right field. Occasionally lets that arm loose a little bit too much, but still looking close to a 5-tool player. And well-deserving of that Big Ten Player of the Year honor. He took a 1-0 pitch in the dirt to make it 2-0. Now the 2-0 pitch on the way is in the dirt and scoops past the catcher Dingler. Jesse Franklin's going to move up to second on the wild pitch. And with a 3-0 count, Brewer has a chance to give Michigan an early lead.
And Jesse Franklin now moving himself into scoring position. The speediest player out there, especially on a Michigan team that historically has liked to use their speed on the base paths. But Franklin, very intelligent play there, able to take his base on the wild pitch.
Franklin will take his lead off second now. Not a big shift from Ohio State. Second baseman Carpenter is holding on Franklin, but that's pretty much it. As a 3-0 pitch to Brewer, misses low and inside, ball 4. 4-pitch walk for Brewer, second straight walk for Michigan. And they've got runners on first and second. They're in business here at the bottom of the first.
And another confident take there on the fourth ball. Jordan Brewer not even waiting for the umpire to say anything. It looked like he wasn't even waiting for the ball to get into Dylan Dingler's glove immediately. Bat down, elbow pad off, and off he goes.
What that tells me is someone that's seen the ball well out of the hand of Lonsway. Saw immediately when that ball was being thrown that was going to miss low and in. And when you're not looking in the perfect spot on 3-0, you're more likely to make it an easy take. Jack Blomgren, now the shortstop for Michigan, steps up with a couple runners on. Newly minted in that 4-hole for the Wolverines. First pitch from Lonsway is a high fastball, ball 1. Lonsway has that big arm for a freshman, strikes out a ton of batters. He mentioned 110 strikeouts in just 78 and a third innings, and now that he's getting a little bit wild there, the walks are his concern. That's going to lead pitching coach Mike Stafford to make his way out to the mound.
Well, he looks to be a little bit rattled early on with giving away the 2 walks and what very well could have been a third walk, or could have been 3 consecutive had Jordan Wogu not swung on the high inside fastball. But now he's a freshman. It's a big environment. You just got to get him. If you are Mike Stafford, you got to get him, calm him down, and work with him. Just tell him to deliver a pitch. Jack Blomgren, not a very powerful hitter, not one, especially in a ballpark the size of TD Ameritrade, not one who's going to be likely to take you long. And now really it's just getting Lonsway to pitch straight at him.
Yeah, he did make a good point here. TD Ameritrade, bigger than what Michigan's used to seeing over at Ray Fisher Stadium. To the left field corner, 335, as well as to the right field corner. The power alleys both ways, 375, and straightaway center is 408 feet away from home plate. After that mound visit is finished up, Lonsway will step back onto the mound for his 1-0 pitch to Jack Blomgren, lefty-righty here. Matchup of freshman versus sophomore. Checks Franklin at second, now comes to the pitch. This one's hit high in the air towards right field, ranging over there, and having plenty of room is the right fielder, Canzone. He makes the grab. Franklin fakes going to third, but is ultimately going to stay at second base. So a routine flyout for out number 2 here in the bottom of the first brings up Joe Donovan.
And that was what Lonsway needed. Needed a quick at-bat. Jack Blomgren, the flyout. And as said, Jack Blomgren, not a player who hits for a lot of power. And now Lonsway 1 out away from getting out of an early jam.
Lonsway, the Big Ten leader in strikeouts, certainly can get himself out of jams by avoiding contact. Got some easy contact there from Blomgren, and now Joe Donovan, one of Michigan's hottest hitters over the last month or so of the season, coming up to the plate, hitting the ball hard a lot. Big lead at second base by Jesse Franklin. Not even looking at him was Lonsway as he fired a first pitch strike to Donovan.
Well, there's no defender even close to second base to try and cover in the event of a pickoff move, but either way, it doesn't really matter at this point. Jesse Franklin, as stated, not a known base stealer.
No one holding on Brewer at first. Swinging and missed here from Donovan, a pitch that was moving low and away from him, and he's now down in the count 0-2. Lonsway with a chance to get out of an early jam here, a self-made jam in the first inning.
And with this, you can simplify the game for Sean Lonsway if you're Greg Beals and Mike Stafford. Don't even tell him not even to worry about the base runners, more just worry about getting Joe Donovan out. Doesn't really matter if there's runners on first and second or second and third. If Joe Donovan is able to put a ball in the outfield, very likely Michigan will score a run.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. So Lonsway does exactly what he needed to do, avoided contact there, got his second strikeout of the inning, and Michigan does not score here in the bottom of the first. No runs, no hits, no errors. 2 left on base for the Wolverines. We'll head to the second inning. The score, Ohio State 0, Michigan 0, on the official student radio broadcast for Michigan Baseball here on WCBN Sports, bringing you the Big Ten tournament in Omaha, Nebraska, here at TD Ameritrade Park. It is transformed into Big Ten Tournament Central as TD Ameritrade Park. Each of the bullpens and left and right field decked out in Big Ten gear. You see the teams represented that are here. The 8 teams that have made the tournament in the left field bullpen. Off of the right field bullpen, the Big Ten branding. And all along the outfield wall, Big Ten baseball logos. On the dugouts, the Big Ten baseball tournament scattered across it.
Well, in the first inning, we saw both the best and the worst of Seth Lonsway. Lonsway with 2 strikeouts, which has been his calling card all season, now with 111. But just as well, issuing 2 walks, including one was a very simplistic walk to Jordan Brewer. And you see Ohio State, you can see what the job that Ohio State has on their hands is keeping Seth Lonsway calm and keeping him able to strike those batters out.
So turn it back over to Karl Kauffmann. You mentioned nice inning for Lonsway to get out of things. His pitch count that first inning, 21 pitches. Kauffmann threw just 15. Right about where you want to be, that 15-pitch mark if you're Karl Kauffmann. Obviously, the perfect outing would be even less than that, but you can't really expect perfection at this point. You got the top 8 teams in the Big Ten duking out head-to-head for a chance to continue their seasons in the NCAA tournament. Going to be a tough fight no matter what. Every at-bat is crucial.
Indeed. The baseline for a pitcher is an average of 15 pitches per inning. At that clip, you're throwing 90 pitches through 6 innings. 6 innings is the border you need for what qualifies as a quality start. You're throwing 90 pitches. If you throw 90 pitches through 6, you can very likely go even a 7th. It puts your team in good position to win.
First baseman Connor Pohl steps in and takes a swing and a miss at Kauffmann's first pitch. It's 0-1. Pohl, the junior left-handed hitter, against the junior right-handed thrower Karl Kauffmann. On the season, Pohl 257 average. Does get on base at a 363 clip, something this Ohio State squad does very well. As that one misses low and in for ball 1. It's now 1 ball and 1 strike. Overall on the season, when it comes to the batting categories, Ohio State about middle of the pack in on-base percentage, 7th in the conference, as another one misses there on 1-1 and brings the count to 2-1. One of the things they do best is walk. 6th in the conference, but not too far behind the conference-leading Michigan Wolverines. High on-base percentages for both these teams. It's a hard hit ball through the right side into right center field for a base hit. Stopping at first can be Connor Pohl. Jesse Franklin cuts it off, or rather Jordan Brewer cuts it off out there and gets it in. But the first hit of the ball game comes here in the second inning, and there's a runner on first. Nobody out for the Buckeyes.
And that is really what you need to do if you're Connor Pohl. Ohio State's lineup really starts to thin out once it gets beyond Brady Cherry. Highest average of the last 5 hitters is Zach DeZenzo hitting 266. Connor Pohl only hitting 257. But the 363 on-base percentage there, he's able to take a pitch from Karl Kauffmann and able to muscle that one past Jack Blomgren and into the outfield.
It'll bring up Brent Totis. Totis, right-handed hitting designated hitter, swings and misses at a good slider, move it down and away. It's 0-1. As said, the sophomore designated hitter bats on the right side, bats 265 on the season, 357 on base percentage, 9 home runs, 36 RBIs. For yet another young Buckeye, has had himself a really solid season. 0-1 pitch to him, fastball, misses high, and the count's 1-1.
And Karl Kauffmann had a great season so far in 14 games, started a 2.91 ERA and an 8-5 win-loss record, but Raines, he's had rough starts each of the last 2, and part of that's attributable to poor defensive play in the infield. But either way, right now on the season, his batting average given up is actually higher than Seth Lonsway's, 227 against 225, despite having an ERA of exactly 1 run lower.
Fastball on the outside corner there brings the count to 1-2. Now you mentioned what it really comes down to is the walks. Kauffmann doesn't walk a whole lot of batters at all. That's pretty much a staple for this Michigan pitching staff, at least the Michigan starting pitching staff, is not giving up walks. If you're going to get on base and score runs, you're going to have to do it by swinging the bat. And a swing and a miss here for strike 3 by Brent Totis is Karl Kauffmann's first strikeout of the ballgame, 1 out here in the bottom of the second.
And that's what you need to do if you're Karl Kauffmann. Kauffmann had Totis dangling on the edge of his string with his off-speed pitches.
Yeah, that good slider from Kauffmann. You can see started out right about middle of the thighs and dipped back below the knees there on the outside corner. Got Totis swinging and missing. That'll bring up Zach DeZenzo. DeZenzo, the shortstop for Ohio State, comes into this one 266 batting average as the freshman. First pitch to him, fastball on the outside corner for a strike, 0-1. And now that Kauffmann's controlling that slider, he's getting a lot more fastballs looking for strikes. against this middle and bottom of the Ohio State lineup. Over that first base is Connor Pohl. Not a big threat to steal. There's one stolen base all season long. Pretty much once you get past the first couple of hitters in this Ohio State lineup, not a big threat to steal. Ball in the dirt, though. Donovan throws down to second and gets Pohl. Pohl does not slide going into second base. Would have been in there easily on the ball that bounced in the dirt, but Donovan came up firing, went to Akeo Thomas, who slapped the tag on Pohl before his foot hit the bag. Big error there for Ohio State, and there's two outs in the inning.
I gotta watch this on the screen. That's one of the most bizarre botched stolen base attempts you will ever see. Donovan boots the ball in front of him, and actually good effort by Donovan actually to keep that ball in front of him. But I think Pohl just thought that it had gone past him, and he wasn't even really running all that hard.
And now a swing and a miss here from DeZenzo. Comes up empty, and now it's 1-2. Yeah, bizarre play there. I don't know what Pohl was thinking. I don't think he thought the throw was going to come down until he was already about to get tagged by Thomas. So 2 outs in the inning, 1-2 count. Kaufman ready to fire to DeZenzo. The pitch just misses low and away. Half the Wolverines already running off the field. But the count's going to even itself up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. I'm still in awe there. Looked like Pohl was going, once he saw the pitch was going to be in the dirt, almost a little delayed steal there, and then gave up near the second base bag.
Yeah, Pohl strolling in there. Looked like he just hit a stand-up double. Very strange.
2-2 pitch. Bounces in the dirt there. Donovan stops it, and the count goes to 3-2. And part of this here, time to bring up the Joe Donovan defense factor. He's been criticized at times for letting a few too many pass balls and wild pitches get by, but one of the things he's really good at is throwing out runners and stopping that ball in the dirt, keeping it in front of him. Displayed both of those there. That's now 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3 by DeZenzo. A couple of strikeouts in the inning for Kaufman, and one bizarre caught stealing. Sends Ohio State down in order. 3 batters come to the plate, 3 outs. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, no one left on base for the Buckeyes that inning. We'll head to the bottom of the second. The score still remains Ohio State 0, Michigan 0. You're listening to Austin Falco and Nick Hornberry on the official student radio broadcast for Michigan baseball here on WCBN Sports.
Carl Kaufman still holding steady on that pitch count, now thrown 29 through 2. But I'm not going to be able to get Connor Pohl's aborted base steal out of my head for a while. That remains one of the strangest instances you will ever see on the base paths. I don't know if that was a miscommunication with between Greg Beals and Connor Pohl, or Pohl just really underestimated either Joe Donovan, or he thought that the ball had gotten past him, maybe he even questioned whether Donovan would throw. It's something you see when catchers drop the ball. It's not uncommon to see a catcher not even make a throw over to second base to worry about throwing it in the outfield, but Joe Donovan, more confident with his arm than probably any other aspect of his game, which is saying something. Joe Donovan, very confident, very much a confidence player as a hitter and both as a fielder. Joe Donovan has been absolutely fantastic throwing balls from the plate in the last couple weeks.
I believe, don't want to get the number wrong here, but it's something like he's thrown out almost half of all base stealers now against him. I'll look up a number here and make sure I get it correct in the end, but Joe Donovan, absolutely stellar when it comes to throwing guys out for sure, and displayed it, making an impact here early on the conference's biggest stage here at the Big Ten tournament in Omaha.
Yeah, Joe Donovan starting to look like what it was in watching the Detroit Tigers in 2011 when Alex Avila was a Gold Glove finalist. It got to the point where whenever players would try to steal, Avila was nearly automatic getting players out, and it got to the point where generally the concern is that if you're trying to steal your bait, it's a sin to really to show that much disrespect to Alex Avila. Joe Donovan is getting to that same territory.
Jimmy Kerr leads things off for the Wolverines here. Left-handed hitting first baseman takes the first pitch called, strike on the outside corner. The count is 0-1. And the second pitch of the at-bat now misses low. The count is 1-1 on the first baseman. We're in a breakout season in his senior season for the Wolverines, has Jimmy Kerr had. .260 batting average, but a .361 on base percentage, 8 home runs, 43 RBIs. Started and played in every single game for Michigan this year. Takes a high fastball, and it's 2-1.
And Jimmy Kerr really been a late bloomer, a utility player in his first 3 years in Ann Arbor, but now the Michigan legacy in his final season has really made a name for himself.
Fouls went off to the left side out of play, and the count now 2-2 on Kerr. getting back to that stat I was just talking about Donovan, now that's 11 of 27 base stealers have been thrown out by Joe Donovan. So not quite half, but anywhere near that number is very impressive for a catcher. Breaking ball misses high, and the count's now 3-2. Ready for a payoff pitch here, lefty to lefty, freshman to senior. 3-2 pitch, foul off to the left side. That'll get up and out of play into the second deck, it looks like. And the count remains 3-2.
Bounces down to the first deck. That ball's still alive, but looks like it has been retrieved.
A little scramble there near the end. Another 3-2 pitch on the way, high and away, ball 4.
And that is Seth Lonsway's third walk, and that's the second of his 3 walks that have been a walk from a full count pitch.
And we saw Jesse Franklin, the other lefty that he's faced so far, work the walk. So really mitigating that platoon advantage you get with that lefty-lefty matchup by walking a couple guys. As Miles Lewis steps up to the plate with his new walk-up song, as we talked about Nick Hornberg a couple weeks ago.
Indeed, joined together by The Who. Cannot really argue with his choice.
Switching away from Kid Rock late in the season. The right-handed hitting left fielder from Michigan watches the ball miss in the dirt, and it gets by the catcher Dingler. Moving up to second is Jimmy Kerr. Second straight inning, Michigan's advanced to second on a walk and on a pass ball.
See, and that was what that's what the Connor Pohl play would have looked like had it actually worked. I think Jimmy Kerr took a slow jog, not dissimilar to what Connor Pohl did. Difference is the ball actually got past Dylan Dingler. That actually leads me to believe that Pohl, as well as Greg Beals, actually thought that the ball had gotten past Joe Donovan.
So now runner on second, nobody out here for Lewis. 1-0 pitch on the way, squares on the butt and pulls back, takes a fastball at the belt for strike 1. And that was officially scored a wild pitch. I did misspeak earlier on there. It was now a walk and wild pitch in each of the 2 innings to advance a runner to second for Michigan. This time with no outs. Back in the first inning, it was with 1 out. Miles Lewis, the senior, redshirt senior for Michigan. 1-1 pitch to him, foul off to the right side. That'll get up and out of play.
And that pitch 2 pitches ago when Lewis squared around to bunt, that's the perfect pitch to throw when a player is squaring around to bunt. That was off-speed pitch, starts high in the zone, drops back, or starts above the zone and drops back in high in the zone. Either Lewis has to pull away and take the called strike, which is what he did, or he can lay out for it and risk popping the ball up, make an easy play for either Dingler at the plate, or if it gets far enough, Lonsway to come off the rubber.
Short lead by Kerr out there at second base. Lonsway with a chance to set down Lewis, looking for his 3rd strikeout of the game. Gets his sign, checks the runner. Now 1-2 pitch. Fastball, or rather breaking ball, misses just high. And the count is 2-2.
And Jimmy Kerr, not known as a speedster, a mere 4 for 5 stolen bases on the season. Once again, Ohio State does not look all that concerned.
And not really concerned about stealing 3rd on top of it all. Of all things here with nobody out, you don't want to make that first out at 3rd. The old saying is you don't make the 1st and 3rd outs at 3rd. You really don't want to make any outs at 3rd, but here comes a 2-2 pitch. Misses high again with that same pitch, and now it's 3-2. Miles Lewis on the season, .275 batting average, but really got that up over the last month or so of the season. Was benched at one point in early May, or the end of April. Came back into the lineup and has done nothing but hit since then as he fouls on back to the screen, and the count will remain 3-2. Michigan making Lonsway work here early on.
Yeah, Miles Lewis having to sit down a little bit, being benched for a combination of Christian Bullock as well as Dominic Clementi, but Lewis so far in the last couple weeks has done well to re-earn his place in the starting lineup.
Lewis, formerly a switch hitter, batting exclusively from the right side this season. Would be batting from the right side if he was a switch hitter anyway against the left-handed throwing Lonsway, as Lonsway spins back towards second. Nobody covering, and just walking back to the bag is Jimmy Kerr. Never got you the defensive lineups today for each team. For Ohio State right now, Brady Cherry's in left field. Center fielder out there is Ridge Wynand. Right fielder is Dominic Canzone. There's another 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss there from Lewis. Strike 3. Got a piece of it, did Lewis actually, but caught back there by Dingler. Now there's 1 out in the bottom of the second.
And that's a big strikeout for Lonsway. And we're seeing it again. The walk and then the strikeout, such as the nature of the Buckeyes starting pitcher.
The rest of the Buckeye defensive lineup here as Blake Nelson makes his way to the plate. Over there at third base is Nick Irwin. Next to him at shortstop is Zach DeZenzo. On the right side is Matt Carpenter and Connor Pohl. And behind the plate, Dylan Dingler for the left-handed throwing Lonsway. Lefty to righty now, Blake Nelson stepping to the plate. One out here in the bottom of the second. First pitch to him, fastball, called, strike of the knees. It's 0-1. Nelson farther down in the lineup than what he's batted most of the year. Really been in that 5 hole or around that 5 or 6 hole for just about the entire season. Over that last weekend series, Eric Bakich getting a little creative with his lineup, bumping Jack Blomgren all the way up into the 4 hole. Blake Nelson down near this 8 spot. As he grounds one towards short, fielding over there is DeZenzo. He'll make the long throw to first base in the dirt. Scoop over there by Pohl to get Nelson.
All right, and now here we are, an interesting position. This is a situation that if you want to win the Big Ten tournament, you have to convert if you are the Michigan Wolverines. Now you have your most experienced hitter as a Wolverine, Akeo Thomas, stepping up into the batter's box with 2 outs and a runner on third base.
Michigan now 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position on the day after that ground out. 2 outs here in the second as Thomas takes low and away for ball 1. We talked about hitters getting hot over the end of the season. Akeo Thomas, an underwhelming season for the senior overall, but really started to come around that last few weeks. Takes a 1-0 pitch on the outside corner. It's 1-1.
And here Lonsway trying to work quickly again, but really the 0 for 4 stat with runners in scoring position is a double-edged sword. Yeah, you're not hitting great with runners in scoring position, but you've also had 4 runners in scoring position through 1 2/3 innings.
1-1 pitch missed high, and now it's 2-1. Yeah, you are getting the at-bats with runners in that scoring position against Lonsway, even if they are self-inflicted damages. Lonsway out of the windup here with the runner on third and fires another pitch high. It's 3-1. Good chance for Akeo Thomas to sit on something he can drive to the outfield and drive in a run. Ohio State playing a little bit farther in on the outfield right now. Third baseman Irwin playing a little bit farther in, as well as holding the runner Kerr. But pretty standard depth across the infield then. Fastball misses high, ball 4 though against Thomas. The second walk of the inning. 4th walk overall in the day for Lonsway. There'll be runners at the corners for Jordan Wogu.
And now this is a position you want to be in. Runners on the corners. Akeo Thomas, only 2 for 4 stolen bases this season, but as you have mentioned many times before, at one point Akeo Thomas was one of the best leadoff men in the country. And now he will have an opportunity to show that speed with second base open. 2 outs and putting on the steal for second base is not a often criticized move to make if you're head coach Eric Bakich. And Jordan Wogu, of course, one of the scariest leadoff hitters in college baseball as well.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing there. You don't really want to take the bat out of the hands of your top 3 hitters now about to come up, as Wogu fouls it off to the right side and out of play, just missing us up here in the booth. I got a good feeling about this weekend, Nick, about
you going to get one?
My chances. Got the windows wide open here. Supposed to get some rain this weekend, but as long as the weather holds up, it's supposed to be beautiful temperature-wise. 64 degrees at game time today. As the 0-1 pitch to Wogu swung on and missed for strike 2. The wind is howling out, or rather in, from right field right now. Maybe a bit towards the left field corner, but the flags out in center field are really gusting. Any ball up there is really going to hang up in the air. Wogu's got a lot of power to the opposite field. Going to be tough to power it through the wind. He's down the count 0-2 here and takes a fastball high for ball 1.
And with Jordan Wogu now, it's really just about keeping the ball down. If he can get one about mid-height and slice it out to in the gap between second and third, he can get it over the shortstop's head, and the wind can carry it down into that line. You could very well score Akeo Thomas from first if it's hit hard enough.
Got to put the ball in play, though, as the 1-2 pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3 again. Got him with the exact same pitch, a late swing on the fastball by Wogu. He struck out twice today. That's the 4th strikeout overall for Lonsway in just 2 innings worth of work. So Michigan does not score. No hits again, no errors, but they leave 2 more men on base. The score after 2 innings remains scoreless between Ohio State and Michigan, 0-0 on the official student radio broadcast for Michigan baseball here on WCBN Sports.
And as Michigan's bench players go out into the outfield to get warm a little bit, make a little bit of announcement, just a general Michigan sports announcement. It looks like Michigan basketball will turn to Juwan Howard to be the next head coach and the replacement for John Beilein, who last week left for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
What's your opinion on that hire there, Nick? Because we have a little bit of time between innings here.
You know, it's an interesting place, and I think to a certain degree it is going with the times a little bit. You're seeing a lot of smaller basketball programs hiring well-known former players. Of course, Georgetown hiring Patrick Ewing as their head coach, and Memphis hiring Penny Hardaway. And Penny Hardaway, very accomplished on the recruiting trail now for the Tigers. Michigan, for the Tigers. And Michigan does look like they're going that same route. Juwan Howard, of course, former NBA champion and former member of the Fab Five. And, of course, due to the Chris Webber scandal, Michigan has kind of held the Fab Five at arm's length for some time. But Chris Webber coming back to campus last season, those relationships appear to be mended. And Juwan Howard having some strong names in his corner. Jalen Rose openly lobbying for him to be the head coach. I personally have success I rather would have had current Iowa State head coach Steve Prohm, but perhaps that buyout a little bit too much. Juwan Howard, longtime accomplished NFL assistant working under Eric Spoelstra, two-time NBA champion. So would I have hoped for a coach a little bit more experience? Maybe, but Juwan Howard's going to have a blank slate to work with, should be able to recruit, and if he could keep a couple of Michigan's assistants around, particularly either Luke Yaklich or Seti Washington, the future could very well be bright.
So from Michigan basketball on the hardwood to Michigan baseball on the diamond here, first pitch to Ridge Wynand is bounced over towards short, making the play on one hop and throwing the first is Jack Blomgren for a quick out number one here in the top of the third.
And now, as we've stated, another Ohio State has a batter who has Fat Bottom Girls as their walk-up song.
Nick Irwin on the same page as the guy right next to him at the plate there, Joe Donovan.
I wonder if Joe Donovan said that to him right now. I know you're in game mode as a catcher, but at some point you got to look over and say, hey, man, you have nice taste in music.
Either that or you stole my walk-up song. That's the ball. Misses low and away here for ball one to Nick Irwin from Kaufman.
Well, that's actually a very feasible one. Nick Irwin, a freshman at Ohio State.
Joe Donovan, the sophomore. As the 1-0 pitch from Kaufman is a high fastball, 2-0 now.
But I was about to say, any at-bat which is what it was at the last one with Ridge Wynand, any at-bat where you can get the batter out in one pitch, especially in the tournament where it's essentially playoff baseball, they're going to manage their bullpen. Coaches are going to manage their bullpens closer than they have all season. That's huge.
2-0 pitch misses just low and away, and now it's 3-0 on the 9-hitter in the Ohio State lineup, Nick Irwin. Irwin, not as much playing time as some of the guys higher up in the lineup. 31st start of the season, as the 3-1 pitch, or 3-0 pitch is right at the belt for strike number one. He's hitting just .248, .304 on base percentage, 4 extra base hits, all of them are doubles, 7 RBIs on the year overall. 3-1 pitch to him. Call, strike on the outside corner with the fastball there, popping the glove of Joe Donovan, and bringing that count full is Kaufman.
And I don't know if it's just the acoustics of the stadium or that that everyone's in the mood for some postseason baseball, but both pitchers, Lonsway and Carl Kaufman, are throwing very hard.
3-2 pitch misses low and away for ball four. Look like Kaufman might have tried to get Irwin to chase there at the slider. It's been one of his best pitches so far today, and the results in ball four. Irwin will make his way down to first base, and there's a runner on for the top of the Ohio State lineup in Dominic Canzone. And while we wait for Canzone to step up to the plate, the Michigan defensive alignment, we'll get it to you now here, is Miles Lewis in left, Jesse Franklin in center, Jordan Brewer in right. Left side of the infield is Blake Nelson and Jack Blomgren. Akeo Thomas, Jimmy Kerr at the right side. Donovan behind the plate as a swing and foul back behind the plate there from Wynand brings the count to 0-1. First pitch, Wynand seen in the strike zone as he walked on 4 pitches to start things back in the top of the first. Canzone stands tall in that left-handed batter's box. Wynand not taking a big lead, or rather Irwin at first base not taking a big lead as the 0-1 pitch misses low and away, brings the count to 1-1.
Well, Nick Irwin yet to attempt to steal a base all season long.
Kaufman doesn't have to really worry about him too much, but going to be tough to double up Canzone should there be a ground ball which is certainly what Kaufman's searching for here. Michigan shifted a bit right on the infield. Ground ball right to Jimmy Kerr at first base. Throw to second for one. Relay throw to first base. It's Kerr covering in time. Double play. 3-6-3. Gets Michigan out of the inning there without any damage done. No runs, no hits, no errors, no men left on base for Ohio State in the third. We will head to the bottom of the third. Still tied up at 0-0 here between the Buckeyes of Ohio State and the Wolverines of Michigan on WCBN Sports broadcast of Michigan Baseball. Austin Felkel alongside Nick Hornberg bringing you all the action today.
And that's the second excellent defensive play by Jimmy Kerr. The first one in the first inning that went to replay review, diving off the base while keeping the toe on to get Matt Carpenter at first base. The other one being that once you field that hard hit ground ball from Canzone, of course, as an infielder, your first instinct is going to want to run over and cover your own base, especially with how fast Canzone is. But Jimmy Kerr taking an excellent turn, getting Irwin out at second base and ranging back all the way over to first base to finish off Canzone as well as the inning.
So now it'll be up to the Michigan Wolverines here to try to complement their defense and pitching that they've showed so far in the first 3 innings of this one. Try to put a ball in play and get a hit against Seth Lonsway. So far, only 2 batters out of 10 that have come to the plate have put the ball in play against the freshman left-hander. A fly out from Blomgren in the first, a ground out from Nelson in the second. Everything else has been strikeouts and walks.
And now you have the top of the lineup coming again. Jordan Wogu striking out to end the second, but now you're starting in your 2-slot hitter. You have Jesse Franklin, Jordan Brewer, and Jack Blomgren. And that still remains, even without Jordan Wogu, still the most potent part of your lineup.
There's a 2-3-4 due up here. Franklin, Brewer, Blomgren, rather, stepping up to the plate here. Leading off will be Franklin, the center fielder for the Wolverines, left-handed hitter. Ran the count full and walked back in the first inning against Lonsway. We do get all on the watchtower here as they have imported all the walk-up songs for all the Big Ten teams. We were talking how they did that in Bloomington, Indiana last week, or rather a couple weekends ago now, as Franklin has went high and deep towards right center field. Ranging back over there is the center fielder, Wynan, but he's going to have room to make the grab. I think the wind really knocked that ball down in right center field. Franklin gave it a jolt, but nothing to show for it. Out number 1 here in the third.
That absolutely was a casualty of the wind. We can feel it right now. It's blowing straight at us, and we're looking out at the outfield from behind the plate. And when I saw that come off the bat, it looked like that had a lot of launch on it. Looked like, to me, that very well could have gone to the wall, maybe farther than that. Franklin absolutely mauled it, but the wind had other ideas.
Yeah, lefty's going to have a tough time pulling the ball out today as now the wind kind of redirects itself from blowing in from right to blowing in from center for a minute. Jordan Brewer takes the first pitch down and in, ball 1. Second pitch to that bat, hit high in the air towards center field. This one's going to hang up as well for Wynand, and he makes the grab easily for out number 2. Couple of hard hit balls for the Wolverines to start the third, but on 3 pitches, they've made 2 outs.
And really, that's kind of frustrating. It looked like Franklin especially very well could have been a home run if the wind is a bit more favorable, but Seth Lonsway threw 46 pitches through 2 innings. Now he's only thrown 3 in this inning. He's in danger. Michigan's in danger of letting Seth Lonsway get back on the pace in his regarding pitch count.
I mean, kind of hard to criticize them there when they're hitting the ball hard like they are the Wolverines, but Jack Blomgren's first pitch is a called strike on the outside corner at the knees. It's 0-1. Blomgren flew out to right field, the first Michigan batter to put a ball in play against Lonsway back in the first inning. The 0-1 pitch to him this time as a fastball misses high and inside, or rather breaking ball misses high and inside. It's now 1-1. Blomgren didn't talk about it too much the first time he was at the plate, given his quick at-bat here, but a really breakout season for the sophomore shortstop. This 1-1 pitch misses high. It's now 2-1. On the season, batting .314 with a .418 on-base percentage, 3 home runs, 36 RBIs, and plays his normal excellent defense at short. This one bounces off the plate and back to the pitcher Lonsway. He fields, throws to first easily for out number 3 here in the third. Michigan goes down 1-2-3. Lonsway gets the quick inning he needed for the Buckeyes. Now we'll head to the 4th inning. Michigan doesn't have a hit against Lonsway, and we're still tied at 0 between the Buckeyes and the Wolverines. You're listening to WCBN Sports broadcast of Michigan Baseball, the official student radio broadcast for Michigan Baseball.
And really, Blomgren, where you can really see the progression, not just in the average, but the on-base percentage is the most important thing. Back as a freshman, Blomgren was known to really swing at just about anything. His really only method of getting on base was through the bunt for a hit, which was something that he was quite good at as a freshman in the program last season. But now he's got an on-base percentage 104 points higher than his batting average. His plate discipline has improved substantially.
The heart of the Wolverine order goes down quickly there, and now it'll be up to Kyle Kaufman to set down the heart of the Ohio State order. They have 2, 3, and 4 due up here, and Matt Carpenter, Dylan Dingler, and Brady Cherry this inning. So far, Kaufman's been stellar, as has Lonsway. Both have been very, very good on the mound, doing a nice job of keeping their teams in their first game of this Big Ten tournament. The second game overall of the Big Ten tournament, earlier on we saw Illinois and Maryland face off. Maryland coming away with the upset victory, the 6 seed over the 3 seed. They'll play the winner of this game tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. The loser of this game, meanwhile, goes on to play Illinois at a bright and early 9 a.m. here Central Time in Omaha.
And that makes the results of this game all the more important. If you lose this game, you're stuck playing Illinois. I know Illinois did not acquit themselves well today, but don't let it be forgotten, the Fighting Illini were the 3 seed for a reason. They are absolutely a dangerous team.
And really, it was Maryland in that game. Hit a couple of home runs in the 8th inning, couple 2-run homers, and that's what won them the ball game. It was a tight game pretty much the entire time. To the first 7, a pitcher's duel, looking like a great matchup there. 2 really good teams. Certainly formidable foe no matter who you face tomorrow, as the first pitch to Matt Carpenter bounces in the dirt. It's 1-0. Kaufman now winds up 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball down and in and fouled off by Carpenter. The count is 1 ball and 1 strike on the second baseman for Ohio State. Carpenter reached on a fielder's choice back in the first inning with a ground ball over to third base. Michigan couldn't turn the double play. 1-1 pitch this time. Fastball misses high and outside, and now it's 2-1. The shift for Michigan right now has Jack Blomgren playing near the second base bag, Blake Nelson playing off that third base line, but right even with the baseline in case of a bunt by Carpenter. Normal depth on the right side of the infield. As the 1-1 pitch misses just outside, I believe, is what they're going to call. Now brings the count to 3-1. Donovan thought it was a strike, telling his pitcher out there, Kaufman, that was a good pitch. And now in firm control is Carpenter. The windup 3-1 pitch from Kaufman. Hit high in the air towards left field, slicing near the corner. With room, though, is the left fielder, Miles Lewis, to make the grab just in front of the track in that left field corner for out number 1.
And out in left field is where hitters are going to have a bit more luck trying to get the hits. With right field, as we saw with the 2 hard hit balls by Franklin and Brewer, wind is just going to knock it down. Left, it slices away from the left fielder towards that line. You're going to have, if you are able to get the barrel of the bat on the ball and able to rope it down the line, it's going to run away from the left fielder. You could have a lot of extra base hits in left field.
Dylan Dingler steps up and swings and misses here at the first pitch from Kaufman. It's 0-1 on the catcher for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, you mentioned you're going to have a lot of balls slicing over that way, and a benefit is the way this TD Ameritrade Park here is constructed. There's a bit of a well out in each of the corners, a la Wrigley Field, where the fence goes out a little bit, just about straightaway left field. It's a called strike 2 is on the inside corner. But then it kind of bends back for that corner, comes in a little bit shorter for that 335 foul pole out there. Could definitely see a couple hooked right around near that foul pole. 0-2 pitch on the way here from Kaufman. Swung on, hit near the right side. Going out is the first baseman Kerr, but coming in and making the play now is Jordan Brewer with ease for out number 2.
And it really is staggering how the wind's affecting the ball out in right field. And that's another one that just got knocked straight down.
Granted, that one wasn't going to have any sort of home run distance, but Jordan Brewer certainly would have had to sprint in the way he did to make that grab on a day without the wind, as you mentioned. They told us here in Omaha about 15 to 25 mile-an-hour winds for this ball game today. And even as it warms up, it's still going to be gusting throughout the day today. Had storms before today and anticipating some weather delays perhaps throughout the weekend. Knock on wood there that we get out of this without any.
I don't think our table is made of wood.
I got the board here on the side that I'll knock
All
out.
right, we got this one behind us though, so we're good.
First pitch to Brady Cherry, missed down and it's 1-0, and now the second pitch from Kaufman is hit high in the air towards center field, or right center field. Franklin went back, now comes in, and he's going to have plenty of room to make the grab in front of Brewer for out number 3. 3 flyouts there, one to each of the outfielders in that fourth inning. Ohio State goes down without any problems. We'll head to the bottom of the fourth. The score is still Ohio State 0, Michigan 0. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast for Michigan Baseball here on WCBN Sports.
And that's another quick one from Carl Kaufman, thrown 49 pitches through 4 innings, well below the baseline pace, so absolutely fantastic effort so far from the Wolverines right-hander. Seth Lonsway, after a quick third inning, isn't too far off, 53 pitches through 3, but still well behind his Wolverine counterpart. And really, either way, with Kaufman's efficiency and Lonsway's pace, really, this has been a quick game so far. We're through 3.5 innings in an hour.
Yeah, that was actually the same story for that first game as well. They were flying through until they got to those late innings. It's kind of a theme for the first day of the Big Ten tournament, it seems to be. You're throwing all your aces to start off, or your Friday starters. You tend to get those quick innings, low-scoring ball games. Games don't take too long. It makes it a little bit easier to fit 4 games in on a day.
And just very well, everybody's energy is a little bit higher during the season. Of course, postseason baseball out in the stadium, and you and I were talking about this before the stadium. This stadium before game time, this stadium is absolutely fantastic, and you see everyone's energy is a bit up. Everyone working a little bit faster.
Yeah, it is an absolutely beautiful stadium here. Kind of a shame that we don't get to sit here for a nice long ball game. I'd be much more willing to sit here for a nice long ball game at such a great park on a beautiful day than, say, some of the games where you're stuck sitting through it. Not that Ray Fisher Stadium is a bad-looking park, but those miserable days when it's cold and rainy,
which was
very different story.
Which was a lot of the days this season.
Very true. So Joe Donovan starts things off here in the bottom of the fourth inning and hits one in the air towards the right side. Ranging out is the first baseman, second baseman, but coming in to make the grab is the right fielder, Canzone, for out number 1 on the first pitch. And Michigan aggressive here against Lonsway after he was striking a few batters out, perhaps trying to jump on some early pitches and get some early hits. That leads Jimmy Kerr stepping up to the plate here. Kerr walked on 7 pitches in his first at-bat.
And Jimmy Kerr absolutely had a good game so far at the plate with the walk, as well as 2 excellent defensive plays at first base, but the wind at the park is really going to work against Jimmy Kerr today and in the batter's box. Reason of all 8 of Jimmy Kerr's home runs have been over to right field, and that's where all the wind is, and Jimmy Kerr, the left-handed hitter, that is going to work against him.
1-0 pitch. Catches the inside corner. Now it's 1-1. Now, you mentioned Kerr, definitely more of a pole hitter. Ohio State's infield shifted a bit that way with the shortstop DeZenzo shaded near the second base bag, and both guys on the right side playing farther back than they normally would. As the 1-1 pitch misses down and in, and now it's 2-1. You got the third baseman, Irwin, playing well off the third base line. But Kerr does have power to the opposite field. We've seen him drive doubles and triples at Ray Fisher Stadium, rather doubles, no triples on the season for him, but seen him drive doubles into the left center field gap and on the left field line. Takes a pitch high and away for ball 3. 3-1 the count. Now you can maybe sit on one to groove and really try to drive one.
Oddly enough, Jimmy Kerr is the only batter in this Michigan lineup to have never been hit by a pitch this season.
He takes a pitch called, strike 2. Kerr, don't think he agreed with that call. Thought he had a second walk off the ball game, but he'll step back in there. Now a payoff pitch. Grounded down the first base line, fair, and bobbled over there by the first baseman Pole. Kerr's going to be on first base. We'll see if that scored as Michigan's first hit of the day or an error on Pole. Either way, Kerr's on base for the second time today with 1 out here in the fourth inning.
And looking at the 3-1 pitch, that was a close one. Now, Jimmy Kerr's hit, looking at it right now, I'd say you probably give him the benefit of the doubt in a situation like that and say that he would have gotten there.
They're going to tack on the error there to Pole at first base, so Michigan's still hitless. But they do have a runner on first base, and Miles Lewis coming up to the plate. Lewis 0 for 1 on the day with a strikeout. He also had a 7-pitch at-bat, though. Against Lansway, saw a lot of pitches there, and watched this one bounce in the dirt to count 1-0. So far, each of the first 2 times that Michigan has put a runner on first base in an inning, Lansway has bounced a wild pitch away and allowed that runner to get into scoring position almost immediately. He checks Kerr at first base. Kerr fakes going, and the 1-0 pitch misses low, ball 2. This is more like the first time the Wolverines went through the order, really working counts against Lansway, as opposed to the string of batters between Wogu and Donovan. Their second times at the plate, no one saw more than 4 pitches. As this one's hit in the air towards center field, a hard hit ball. Going back is Winan. He'll make the grab in front of the track, but another hard hit ball to the outfield for Michigan with nothing to show for it. And there's 2 gone in the inning.
And that's disappointing because really, once you're Miles Lewis in this situation, you really did all you can do. You put some power behind that ball. Miles Lewis, not the most powerful of hitters out there. 7 home runs on the season. Respectable, but still not one very likely to drive the ball 400 feet. Kept that one pretty low, actually, relative to other balls we've seen, but well-positioned was the Ohio State center fielder, Wynand.
Blake Nelson will step up to the plate now. .315 average coming into today. He is 0 for 1 with a ground out and takes the first pitch, called strike 1. Nelson, as you mentioned, not too much power here for Blake Nelson. Either 1 home run on the season, but does have some extra base power, can find the gaps. 15 other extra base hits between doubles and triples. He swings and misses there at the 0-1 pitch, comes up empty, and now it's 0-2 on the Wolverine third baseman.
That was a big swing. Nelson looked like he wanted to hit that one right out into the bullpen in left field.
He certainly possesses the ability to hit the ball hard enough to get it out there. Just tends to have a lower launch angle, doesn't hit the ball in the air too much, just finds gaps throughout the field. And a pickoff throw almost goes over the head of Pohl over there at first base. Kerr gets back in safely. Pohl, a tough guy over there at first base to overthrow. Stands at 6'5", used all 6 foot 5 inches of that frame and then some to grab that one. And Alonso ready for an 0-2 pitch. This one's hit in the air by Nelson to the left side. Cherry, the left fielders, in routine left field territory to make the grab for out number 3. So Michigan gets another base runner on there. They do not score. Still no hits on the day, but 5 left on base overall for Michigan. So we head to the 5th inning. The score, Ohio State 0, Michigan 0. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast for Michigan baseball here on WCBN Sports. Austin Falco alongside Nick Hornberg. We'll be here all weekend long with you. And with some luck, we'll get a little bit of action from Daniel Thompson coming in for the weekend.
And really, so far with the sun and the wind, the depth perception is proving to be a little bit of a challenge from here. You have some balls look like they're going a lot farther than they actually are.
We're a little bit higher up than we normally are at Ray Fisher Stadium. About a deck and a half higher than we normally are at the very least. A big ballpark here, TD Ameritrade. The 31st largest ballpark in America. After the top 30 belong to Major League Baseball teams. You get a really nice view of Omaha. The CHI Health Center of Omaha, just a massive building out over center field, but a beautiful looking building at that.
Well, you and I were talking about this before the game. To me, the CHI Health Center looks like it could very well be a basketball or a hockey stadium more than a health center.
It does. It looks like that until you realize it's about 3 times as big, at least 3 times as big than your standard basketball or hockey arena. Of course, out over then the left field wall, we see the bridge over to Iowa over the Missouri River. Some parks out that way as well. It's a great view. They did a really nice job building up this area here in Omaha. And we'll soak in the view as Connor Pohl, the big first baseman, takes his spot in the left-handed batter's box against Kyle Kaufman to start things in the 5th. Pohl, the only hit in the ball game for either team thus far.
And Pohl the victim of a very awkward play on the base path, really just strolling into second base. And Joe Donovan just taking him down without much ceremony.
Michigan shifts 3 infielders on the right side of the infield, with Blomgren just on the right field side of second base. Squaring around to bunt was Pohl. but pulls back and takes one low. The count is 1-0.
And if Pole's able to get that one down, that was very, very well could have been a base hit, as all of Michigan's defenders playing back. Blake Nelson would have had to make a big run to be able to field that ball.
1-0 pitch, swing and a miss, set a ball low and in. Might have got a piece of that one as he skipped behind the plate. Either way, the count is 1-1 now on the 6'5" first baseman. You mentioned Blake Nelson was playing farther back. I think he would have had a decent shot at coming in. He was charging hard as soon as he saw Pole square around, almost like he was expecting him to square around. 1-1 pitch misses just low, and the count is 2-1. In his first at-bat, Pole found the hole between Blomgren and Thomas on that right side, pretty much right where our second base umpire Danny Jimenez is playing right now. Or rather, is stationed out there. 2-1 pitch misses well high and away, and now it's 3-1. Ohio State looking to scratch across the first run of the ball game here in the fifth. They'd go a long way to do so with a leadoff walk. Kaufman comes set, winds up, 3-1 pitch on the way to Pole. Called, strike 2.
And that's a big one right there. The 3-1 pitch, you even up the count, you force Pole to swing, and of course, in a lot of situations, a lot of batters on a 3-1 count do not get the green light.
So we got another payoff pitch here early on in this ball game, and it is outside for ball 4. Had a lot of full counts early on in this one, and so far the batters have won most of them. Pole takes his spot down at first base. Leadoff runner on in the fifth for the Buckeyes. Bring up Brent Totis.
And it didn't go so well for the Buckeyes the last time they were in this situation. Pole on base and Totis in the batter's box, but very likely Greg Beals talking it over with his first baseman as well as his first base coach to make sure that situation like that never happens again.
Yeah, I'm sure they had a little discussion in the dugout about exactly what happened there. Talking about Connor Pole trying to swipe second on a ball in the dirt against Joe Donovan and the Wolverines, but Donovan came up firing. Pole didn't slide into second or else he would have been safe. It was instead tagged out. He's on first here with nobody out, and the first pitch to Totis is hit in the air towards right field. Jordan Brewer is going to have room making his way over near the line, still coming in and making the grab for out number 1. And again, that wind knocking everything down. Jordan Brewer kept coming farther in and in and in on that ball. The initial trajectory would have probably sent it over near the right field line, near the right field corner.
Yeah, if I can tell you that actually there is a way for left-handed hitters or right field pole hitters to be able to succeed if they are able to hit like a little pop-up, and both teams are playing their outfielders quite deep, and this is a big outfield. You can able to get it up beyond the infield. You can probably get a couple to settle in for bloop singles with the outfielders not able to reach all the way in.
Shortstop Zach DeZenzo takes the first pitch strike from Kaufman, bring it to 0-1. And you mentioned the outfielders. Lewis and Franklin are playing very deep for Michigan. Brewer easily playing the farthest in of any of the 3 outfielders because of that wind in right field knocking everything down, so he's able to range up and make that play. Don't have to worry about 2 money balls getting over your head on a day like today. 0-1 pitch to Zenzo, swinging and a miss, strike 2. Zenzo worked the count full in his first at-bat against Kaufman, but swung and missed at strike 3 back in the second inning. In danger of falling victim to the strikeout yet again here, down 0-2. Michigan playing their defense straight up. Double play up the middle. 0-2 pitch here to DeZenzo from Kaufman. On its way. Swing and a miss, strike 3 on the high fastball. Got DeZenzo to swing through it for the second time today. Kaufman's third strikeout of the day overall. And that'll bring up Ridge Wynand.
And if you're a pitcher, that's how you impose yourself on a game and on a batter. Just completely blew DeZenzo off the plate with 92-mile-an-hour fastball high in the zone.
Wynand, the center fielder, been busy over the last couple innings for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Michigan hitting a bunch of balls out to center field for him to range over and make grabs on. 0 for 1 on the day today, grounded out to short. Back in the third inning. This time he hits a line drive towards center. Jesse Franklin's going to stop in his tracks as he's coming in. And then halted and made the grab on a line drive shot for out number 3. Probably the hardest hit ball for the Buckeyes today. Ends up in the glove of the center fielder, Franklin. They go down here in the 5th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 left on base. We're halfway home here at TD Ameritrade Park. The score, Ohio State 0, Michigan 0. On the official student radio broadcast for Michigan Baseball, you're listening to WCBN Sports.
And when you watch that back, it looked like Jesse Franklin almost overshot that ball. It looked like he even overestimated the wind rather out where he is, but ultimately a good play with the glove.
Yeah, maybe the hardest hit ball of the day. I'd still venture to say that Miles Lewis shot out to center field. Probably the hardest hit ball of the day for either team, if not the Jesse Franklin ball out towards right center that died. But that one certainly in the top 3 off the bat of Winan there.
I think that may have been harder than Franklin's, but I think the Lewis one is probably the hardest hit ball of the game so far.
Definitely the best sounding ones we've seen so far were Lewis and Winan. You got that ring echoing throughout the ballpark here. More fans than we saw for the earlier game as they're starting to trickle in throughout the day as we get later in the day. I don't really blame them. I don't think you and I were planning on getting here for that 9 a.m. first pitch for Illinois and Maryland.
Well, not only were we not planning on it, we didn't.
Did not happen here for either of us two. Didn't happen for a lot of these fans that are making their way in now. A lot of red, which that's to be expected here. They're not Buckeye red, though. That's the Big Red of Nebraska. A lot of Go Big Red shirts. See a couple scatterings of that Hawkeye black and yellow as well. And, of course, a little smattering of maize and blue, a little smattering of scarlet and gray. But I'd definitely say Nebraska holds the advantage in terms of fans right now. Even
they do, which right now is a little bit surprising because Nebraska's first game is at 9. Is the late game, 9 o'clock, which 9 o'clock Central, which it would not surprise me at all if that gets pushed back.
Yeah, we were delayed about 11 minutes here because the earlier game ran a little bit longer. Akeo Thomas for Michigan squares out a button, pulls back, takes a first pitch strike. It's 0-1. We got delayed about 11 minutes because of the first game running a bit long. That's most likely just going to compound itself throughout the day. As this one's fouled back to the screen, account now 0-2 on Thomas.
And, of course, it's easy to get lost in the discussion of hitter's park versus pitcher's park, but this is a ballpark with a big, expansive outfield and the wind. Akeo Thomas could very well make this ballpark work for him. Left field pole hitter, can able to get one down the line.
The 0-2 pitch misses down in the dirt. Now it's 1-2. Yeah, you mentioned a pole hitter, not really Akeo Thomas's forte. It wasn't too much of a pole hitter. Hit the ball all over the place until last season or two when he really started to pull the ball and try to hit a little bit harder with a little more authority. Check swing there at a ball that missed high. Does not go around, says first base umpire Jeff Doy.
Akeo Thomas still possesses a lot of speed. In his last season in Ann Arbor, he's able to get a ball rolling around in the outfield. He can very well stretch an extra base.
And showing off his eye right now as a 2-2 pitch misses just high and away for ball 3, runs the count full. Thomas walked back in the second inning but didn't advance farther than first base. 3-2 pitch to him here, misses low, ball 4, walks again, and Michigan's got the leadoff runner in the 5th.
And that's the second time Akeo Thomas has walked in this game so far, and it'll honestly be interesting to see how Coach Backich uses Akeo Thomas. For me, it's a no-brainer. You get aggressive with your second baseman, but Akeo Thomas has been used rather sparingly on the base path so far this year.
Hey, you mentioned just 4 stolen base attempts all season long, successful on 2 of them, as opposed to the Akeo Thomas we used to see over his first really 3 seasons in Ann Arbor, 2.5 seasons more like it. Dealt with injuries over the last couple years, but he'd pretty much manufacture a run on his own, get on base, steal second, sometimes steal third, and score. Wogu squares out a bunt and fouls it back behind the plate. It's 0-1, and not a big fan of the bunt. You know that, Nick, but I would say bunting here for Wogu might be the most productive thing he can do.
Jordan Wogu struck out twice already, and Wogu has speed. He is capable of bunting for a hit if he wanted to.
He's got speed to beat out a bunt, as you mentioned. But also, he has struck out the 2 times and really just looked overmatched and not having good swings against Lansway in his first couple times at the plate. See if he's squaring again here on 1-0. He is not, but he ropes one in towards left center field. That one's going to get down for a base hit. Going to third now is Akeo Thomas. Wogu's going to stop at first base. The throw goes towards the shortstop, DeZenzo. Michigan's first hit of the ball game belongs to Jordan Wogu. Runners on first and third. Nobody out here in the 5th.
All right, the no-hitter is gone. After 5 walks and an error, the no-hitter is finally gone. And
after you talked about Jordan Wogu not having good swings against Lansway, he ropes one into left center field. puts runners on first and third. Michigan with the best scoring chance of the day for either team, the go-ahead run over there at third base.
And that's what you need to do. Jordan Wogu, that's what it is. He hit it over to left center field, as it roped, falling away from the center fielder. Absolutely fantastic piece of hitting by Jordan Wogu there. And now Jesse Franklin up with no outs. We know he's capable of hitting the ball a long way. And Akeo Thomas, any fly ball in the outfield, you can expect he will probably be tagging up.
First pitch to Franklin is a call. The strike on the outside corner. It's 0-1 on him. Franklin walked back in the first inning, and we mentioned hit that long fly ball back in the third that was just knocked down because of the wind. Probably would have found the seats had it not been gusting so hard. 0-1 pitch now. High fastball misses. It's now 1-1. We mentioned Franklin overall on the season. An impressive 12 home runs, tied for the team lead with the man on deck, Jordan Brewer. 40 RBIs on the season. He hits one high in the air towards left field. Coming in now, going back is Cherry. He's going to go back near the track now, and it almost gets over his head. He makes the grab. Akeo Thomas is going to tag up and score. Wogu tags up and goes to second, and Michigan takes a 1-0 lead on a sacrifice fly from Jesse Franklin.
And I know it didn't go over the fences, and it did look like it almost went over Cherry's head, but that's an excellent piece of hitting by Jesse Franklin, able to hit that one the opposite way over to left field where the wind isn't so bad, get a little bit more carry on the ball, and able to muscle it out there and score a run, which, the way this game is going, is massive.
Yeah, both these pitchers have been dealing, and the way everything is getting knocked down in the outfield. Huge to get on the board first here. Now still a runner in scoring position. A good heads-up play from Wogu to tag up on a ball that, as you mentioned, almost got over Brady Cherry's head. His first step was in, and he kept going back farther and farther and slowly increased speed as he was going back near the track. Made the grab just in front of the Michigan bullpen. It was an easy tag up for Akeo Thomas and an easy tag up for Jordan Wogu as well, but heads up to even think about it at first. So runner on second, one gone in the inning for the Big Ten Player of the Year, Jordan Brewer. First pitch of this at bat to him, swing and fouled off. At the end of the bat, count is 0-1.
Well, with Jordan Wogu, similar to Jesse Franklin, the goal is just get it into left field. You can get it, and especially Jordan Brewer is able to get the ball down. He can either hit for power, try and put it in the bullpen or the seats if he hits it hard enough, or he can get that one once again over DeZenzo and Irwin into left field. Jordan Wogu, no doubt, will score.
Brewer on the day, walk and a fly out to center. Down on the count here, 0-1 to Lonsway, who checks the runner at second. Wogu twice. Now a ball hit off to the right side. That'll go up and out of play. Just barely make its way into the first row of the upper deck. The count is 0-2 now on the Wolverine 3-hitter. Michigan's got one of the most potent top of the lineup in the entire Big Ten, if not the entire country. The top 4 hitters all named to the all Big Ten teams, including the Big Ten Player of the Year, Jordan Brewer. Down the count here, 0-2, swings and misses against Lonsway. Good pitch there, a breaking ball missing, moving down in the zone and out of the zone. 5th strikeout of the day for Lonsway. Brewer goes down and strikes for the first time today, and there's 2 outs here in the 5th.
And Brewer frustrated there, obviously, an opportunity to drive in to run and extend Michigan's lead, but now Jack Blomgren's going to have his chance, and it looks like Ohio State's going to give him a little bit of a hole in the gap between shortstop and third base. DeZenzo and Irwin keeping their distance from each other, and especially with Cherry playing deep in the outfield. A ground ball in the gap will very likely score Jordan Wogu.
First pitch to Blomgren misses down for a ball. It's 1-0. Blomgren today is flew out routinely to right field and tapped back to the pitcher, Lonsway. Newly batting in that 4-hole over the last couple weeks, starting just last weekend in Lincoln. About an hour and a half away here, depending on how quickly you drive and traffic conditions. Swing and a miss there from Blomgren, comes up empty and evens the count at 1-1.
If Daniel's able to come up this weekend, we'll have to ask him how long the drive was.
Yeah, we'll get the exact time.
Though he might be
Daniel Thompson.
He might be driving from Columbus, Nebraska,
He
though.
will be, but I'm sure he knows the distances for us. Blomgren's 1-1, or rather the 1-1 to Blomgren misses low and away. It's now 2-1. A matchup that we'll probably see over the next 2 seasons after this one, between Lonsway and Blomgren, a couple of young players in the Big Ten Conference. Michigan's got a good mix of young and older players this season. Ohio State very young, and they're able to make it into the Big Ten tournament despite the younger roster. This is a ground ball towards short. Backhanding it over there is DeZenzo. He makes the throw over to first base. Stretching and catching is the first baseman pull for out number 3. But Michigan gets on the board first here. 1 run on 1 hit. No errors. 1 man left on base for the Wolverines. We'll head to the 6th inning. Michigan leads Ohio State by a score of 1-0. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast of Michigan baseball here on WCBN Sports. We thank you for tuning in today. And we're always open for interaction with you guys on our YouTube chat here at WCBN Sports, off either to the side or to the bottom, depending on whether you're listening on a desktop or your phone. Also, you can tweet us at WCBN Sports. We'd love to hear from you all and where you're listening from. As we made the trip out here to Omaha. Long trip for some of us out this way over the last couple days.
Well, you got to see some interesting sights on your way down.
Definitely did. The nice. It was supposed to be about a 9-hour train ride from Chicago to Omaha. Ended up being a little bit closer to 10.5 hours because of the weather that really swept through here, through Nebraska, through Omaha, and into Iowa over the last few days. Thunderstorms. It was a pretty sight to sit in the observation car and kind of see the lightning flashing as you're going across the cornfields of Iowa. But made it here all safe and sound. I know you had your share of delayed flights, I believe.
Oh my, yep.
Rough journey, but we're here nonetheless for you in Omaha to cover this Big Ten tournament. We'll cover every single Michigan game in this Big Ten tournament. If we're feeling zesty, maybe we'll break out an extra game or two, but I wouldn't hold my hopes up for that one unless the unfortunate happens and Michigan's out early and we're stuck with nothing to do the rest of the weekend.
How much time can you spend in a zoo?
That's true. The Henry Doorly aquarium or zoo and aquarium. Definitely going to make that one of my stops at some point here in Omaha. Of course, if Michigan wins today and tomorrow, they do get the Friday off day. That's a perfect opportunity for me, I know. So I know I'm a little partial to that scenario as opposed to the other scenario where we're free on Friday because of a couple of losses. Nick Irwin's going to lead things off for Ohio State here. First pitch from Coffin bounces down in the dirt. The count is 1-0 on the third baseman for Ohio State. Irwin walked on 6 pitches back in the 3rd inning. This time up, the 1-0 pitch to him is just low again. It's 2-0.
And really, you saw there on the first pitch in the dirt, Donovan, as you said, gets a lot of criticism for his defending behind the plate, but really, to a lot of degree, Michigan's pitchers generally have been flamethrowers, and Kaufman and Tommy Henry particularly. A lot of balls in the dirt. Really, Donovan has had no choice but to get beat up.
Ground ball here to Blomgren at short. Routine play. Makes it. Throws to first in time. Out number 1. They cruise along here in the 6th. 3 pitches. Gets the first out on the ground out. And with 1 out, that brings us to the top of the Ohio State order yet again. Dominic Canzone.
And back to Donovan's. I don't have the official stat in front of me, but I suppose it's probably not a stretch to say that Joe Donovan probably is among the top in the conference in passed balls allowed, but he's also probably in the top in balls in the dirt as well that he's had to control.
I don't think they track the second one.
I don't think they do either.
As the first pitch to Canzone misses low and away for a ball, 1-0.
But either way, Donovan really has a tough job behind the backstop, and really, honestly, the way he's playing, if there's an injury to the Michigan hockey team, if either Hayden Levine or Strauss Mann go down and get injured as goalies, they could call Joe Donovan
up. Joe Donovan there. 1-0 pitch missed low as well. Now it's 2-0. You didn't mention Joe Donovan is number 1 in the conference in passed balls, but I'd love to see the percentage-wise, as you said, of balls that he's been able to keep in front of him. 2-0 pitch misses down and in now. It's 3-0 against Canzone. Dangerous spot to be in here against one of the best hitters in this Ohio State lineup, if not the best hitter in the Ohio State lineup. A Big Ten Player of the Year contender himself with his .357 average, 15 home runs, 41 RBIs. Takes a pitch down and in, ball 4. Walks on 4 pitches for the second time today. And 1 out, 1 run around for Matt Carpenter.
And, back to Donovan, particularly with percentages, it's another situation. Go back to the 2012 Detroit Tigers. That team, 12 and 13 Tigers, had they had a lot of issues behind the plate. Pass balls weren't really the issue, but it remained catchers had issues staying healthy. Alex Avila had his injury troubles in that stretch of time, and a lot of it was he just kept getting beat up by his pitchers, and the Tigers had at that point a lot of velocity. Justin Verlander, known for his velocity, as well as Max Scherzer and Anibal Sanchez, all throwing extremely hard.
Matt Carpenter, the second baseman, takes the first pitch low, ball 1. Carpenter's 0 for 2 today. Fielder's choice back in the first. And a fly out to left field back in the fourth. And his third looks at Kaufman today. About that time when you look for hitters to start coming around against the pitcher is that third time through the order. Kaufman checks the runner Canzone at first. Bit of a shorter lead as this one is grounded towards the left side, and making a sliding play as Blomgren throws to second and gets the force out there. What a play, Jack Blomgren. That ball looked ticketed for left field. Blomgren slid in the hole, spun, fired to Akeo Thomas covering to get the lead runner.
And Akeo Thomas knew it too. The veteran second baseman, after stepping off second base, just stands and holds a second and points at Jack Blomgren standing there just beyond the infield. An absolutely fantastic play by the shortstop.
Saved what would have been runners on first and second, maybe even runners on first and third, as that one was going to trickle into left field. Miles Lewis playing very deep out there, and Canzone having speed. Instead, it's a runner on first with 2 outs in the inning now for Dylan Dingler, the catcher. Carpenter, decent lead at first. Slider on the first pitch to Dingler, misses low and away. It's 1-0. And Kaufman's fallen behind every single hitter this inning. 2-0 on Irwin before the ground out. The 4-pitch walk to Canzone. 1-0 before Carpenter hit that last ball, and now 1-0 here on Dingler. Not normally the recipe for success. But the 1-0 pitch here misses low and away. Thrown on to first base from Donovan is not in time to back pick Carpenter at first base. Count moves to 2-0 on Dingler.
And you see both teams starting to prepare for late in the game now, as both teams, nobody's warming up, but both teams have moved their entire pitching staffs out into the bullpens.
We saw Ohio State move it middle of last inning. Michigan going between innings out there. A little bit of stirring in both sides, but no one throwing, as you mentioned. This one's a tapper down the left field line. This will get foul. And the count's 2-1 now on Dingler. The first strike that's not been put in play from Kaufman this inning.
And really, there's not a whole lot of reason for either team to get their pitchers up and working right now, as both pitchers playing very well. I know Lonsway conceding that run, but he's only given up 5 runs. He's only given up 1 run despite issuing 5 walks.
He does have the 84 pitches, which is something to look at, but you can certainly get another inning out of him at the very least. In the bottom of the 6th. Kaufman fires a 2-1 pitch that's bounced towards Blomgren at short. He'll take the easy out at second base to Akeo Thomas for out number 3. So no runs that inning for Ohio State. No hits, no errors, 1 left on base. We'll head to the bottom of the 6th. Michigan leads their rivals by a score of 1-0 here on the official student radio broadcast of Michigan Baseball. You're listening to WCBN Sports.
And we are still shooting along through this game. 5.5 innings in an hour and a half. And as you said, just like the Maryland-Illinois game before the 8th inning, I don't know if that means something it's excellent how quickly everyone's working Friday, or that could be a foreshadowing. We could be in for a fairly action-packed 8th inning.
And it certainly feels like it's building to some sort of crescendo here, with both teams starting off with great pitching, then finally starting to get a little bit of action balls put in play. Kind of depends on how long the starters go, how many times these lineups you're going to get a chance to look at the starters, and whether the arms out of the bullpens can do an effective job of keeping the opposing offenses down and keeping this a low-scoring ball game. Now the final score of the first game, I want to make sure I get this correct here, was a 6-2 final. Of course, Maryland 2 2-run home runs in the 8th inning of that one to give them a 4-1 lead that they would ultimately hang on to. Illinois had a mini rally in the bottom of the 9th, but Maryland tacking on a couple insurance runs in the top of the 9th was enough to really put their minds at ease and send them into the later game on Thursday. And double elimination style here at the Big Ten tournament, with the one exception being if you do have an undefeated team in the championship game on Sunday, they do not play a doubleheader should that team lose. That one is a winner-take-all ball game. But every team guaranteed at least 2 ball games Michigan's will either be at 5 o'clock Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern against Maryland tomorrow if they win. As Joe Donovan squares around a bunt, puts it on the first base line, but that's going to trickle just foul. The count's going to be 0-1, the Wolverine catcher.
And that is not a common decision to make. Giving the signal to the catcher to square around to bunt. Catchers, of course, a lot of times have troubles with the knees, but not known for their speed.
I think that's more of a call from Joe Donovan there. We saw him do that in the series against Indiana in that Sunday game. Saw that the first baseman was playing really deep over at first base against a left-handed thrower that falls off near the third base side of the mound. He was able to keep that one fair. Easily would have beat that out for a hit. Instead, he's down the count 0-1 here and takes the 0-1 up high. Count is 1-1. Donovan 0 for 2 on the day. Strikeout and a fly out to right field. 1-1 pitch to him this time is a swing and a miss. He's down the count 1-2 now. Lansway back to working quickly, just as we were talking about he was starting off to do earlier on in the first and second innings. Takes a breath, gets his sign from his catcher Dingler, and when Donovan steps in, the 1-2's on the way. Hit in the air down the left field line. That one's going to hook foul and get out of play, though. Well struck ball there from Donovan, but the count will remain 1-2.
And interesting there, and there we go. That's what I was looking for. Good gesture by Brady Cherry right there, taking that ball and throwing it back out to a couple fans in the stands.
Yeah, 5 kids sprinting down to that corner. They're looking for a souvenir. This one is tapped on the ground to the left side. That'll get fouled just wide of the third base bag. The count's going to remain 1-2 on Donovan. Put up a bit of a fight here against Lansway. Seth Lansway has had himself a pretty decent day. Only 1 hit given up. 1 run given up. Walked 5, but also struck out 5. It's been really the story of his season. 1-2 pitch again, misses high, and the count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes now on the Wolverine backstop.
And really, this is, even by Lansway standards, this is a very variable game. 110 strikeouts and 48 walks going into today. Now it's been dead even.
2-2 pitch, misses high, and it's 3-2 on Donovan. Probably the best at-bat we've seen today, the longest at-bat we've seen today already. 7 pitches since we pitched number 8. It's on its way, and a swing and a miss there. Lansway wins it to start the 6th here, 1 gone.
Donovan getting out in front of that off-speed pitch. An excellent comeback pitch by Seth Lansway.
You definitely see why this kid has been the #1 starter for the Ohio State Buckeyes in his first season on campus. Has great stuff, getting a lot of swings and misses from a good Wolverine lineup.
Yeah, you can absolutely see the talent that Lansway has, and very well could be a contender for Big Ten Pitcher of the Year in the coming years. Of course, won this year by Andrew Saalfrank of Indiana.
First pitch, Jimmy Kerr misses low and away for a ball, 1-0. Lansway was named to the 3rd team All-Big Ten, and of course on the All-Freshman team. That's the 1-0 pitch, misses high, and now it's 2-0 on Kerr. Kerr, a fellow 3rd team honoree. Also the Michigan's Sportsmanship Award winner. Takes a 2-1 pitch for a strike. It's 2-1. Lefty-lefty matchup here. Kerr's been on base twice, walked in the 2nd, reached on an error in the 4th. That trickled out to the glove of the first baseman Pull. And now on 2-1, he takes a pitch at the belt for strike 2. It's 2-2.
And Jimmy Kerr, once again, not looking happy about that at all, having to leaning over the plate a little bit. And don't think he was a big fan of that.
2-2 pitch from Kerr. Breaking ball misses down and in, and it's now 3-2. These Wolverine hitters have a very good grasp of the strike zone, so when they feel like they have had a ball incorrectly called a strike on them, they're certainly prone to showing it. A high pop-up towards the left side. Drifting over near the line is Cherry. He's over near the line now, and he drops foul. Brady Cherry looked like he was just lost that ball at some point. Was having trouble finding it, perhaps. And Jimmy Kerr stays alive with a ball that bounced maybe 2-3 feet foul.
That's about as close as you can get to being a fair ball without actually being fair. That looked like that's like a couple inches on the other side.
That's not even a foot there.
Yeah, that's just on the that actually was even on the baseline. That was very close.
I think we might be getting a review here. The third base umpire, David Ewell, who notably thrown out of a high school baseball game by our own Andy Laidlaw. Shout out to Andy there. We are going to get a review. I don't know if that was prompted by Michigan or by David Ewell himself, not quite knowing whether that ball was fair or foul, or maybe it was whether or not it was touched in fair territory by Cherry.
That's a foul ball.
He wants to review himself, it looks like. It looks like he was indicating it. No challenge from Michigan. He just wants to make sure. So, very respectable thing from Ewell to want to make sure he got that call right. It would have been a big call, probably a double there for Jimmy Kerr had that ball landed on the line. As it stands right now, it will just be a 3-2 count.
Looking at it right now, did he touch it? Did Cherry touch it? I don't think he did. It may have just gotten out of his glove.
I don't think it touched it. One of the angles that we saw down that third baseline looked like he did not touch the ball.
No, it does. I am not seeing it.
And it did land in foul territory. The question was, it was slicing, and it's so close to that third base, or that left field line, that if he had touched it, he probably touched it while it was in fair territory. But it came down that a couple extra feet, drifted it just about an inch or two.
I'm not really seeing a change of direction on the ball, and it looks like there's some space between the glove. I fully expect the crew to come out and just wave it off as a foul ball.
So if our expectations are correct, which they were correct earlier as well, we will have another 3-2 pitch upcoming to Jimmy Kerr. The call from Ewell, it is foul ball.
Yep, that's the right call.
Jimmy Kerr involved in both reviews today. One on defense, now one on offense. As resetting now is Lonsway on the mound. Umpires retake their positions. Now then a 3-2 pitch lefty-lefty to Kerr. This one misses outside, ball 4. Kerr draws his second walk of the ball game. Be a runner on first, one out for Miles Lewis.
And Jimmy Kerr has reached base safely all 3 times he's been on. He's been up 2 walks and the reaching on the error.
Maybe wants to work his way back up to that cleanup spot, or rather the cleanup spot in the lineup. Batting down in the 6th hole right now in today's ball game. Miles Lewis in the 7th hole is 0 for 2 today, swinging strikeout and a fly out to center field, and probably one of the best struck balls, if not the best struck ball of the entire ball game. Found the glove of Wynand out there. Jimmy Kerr takes a big lead at first, but not going as the first pitch is taken for a strike. 0-1 to Lewis. We said Kerr's not a threat to steal, but Lonsway's really not even paying any attention to him. He's getting a big lead as Kerr.
Well, Lonsway has a lot of velocity, so you don't even the off-speed pitches. You don't even have to worry so much about Kerr getting out in front.
0-1 pitch bounces in the dirt. Nice stop back there by Dingler. Keeps it in front of him and keeps Kerr at first base. The count's going to move to 1-1 on Lewis.
Well, do we have it in front of us? The number of base runners called thrown out by Dylan Dingler. That might be another factor.
Can look that up right now for you. Coming set is Lonsway, not going as Kerr. Pitch is on the inside corner for a strike to Lewis. It's 1-2.
And Kerr jumped. Looks like they maybe thought about it. And Eric Bakich has been known to be able to get into pitchers' heads without ever actually sending a base runner.
Lewis now down in the count 1-2 against Lonsway. Lonsway looks over at Kerr at first. And now the pitch misses high, ball 2. Count moves to 2 balls and 2 strikes on the redshirt senior left fielder for the Wolverines.
And Lonsway now out to 103 pitches, and you see some action up in the Ohio State bullpen.
Looking in for the sign on 2-2. Now coming set is Lonsway. Checks Kerr at first, and the 2-2 pitch misses low and away again, ball 3. You imagine with Lonsway's pitch count really getting up there now, this will be pitch number 6 in the at-bat. And overall pitch number 105 on the day. It is Will Fennig out there in the Ohio State bullpen right now, the freshman right-hander. And coming set, delivering another 3-2 pitch and missing inside for ball 4 there was Lonsway. So back-to-back walks here on full count pitches for the Wolverines. They've got a couple runners on with 1 out in the 6th, and this might be the end of Lonsway's day if that pitch count is any indication, and as well as the walks. That's walks number 6 and 7 on the day for him.
And here comes Greg Beals. It looks like Seth Lonsway will make way, and he's clearly not happy about it. But at this point, with the high pitch count, runners on first and second, now 7 walks. Doesn't look like there's a whole lot you can do for the freshman pitcher, as Greg Beals now walking up to the mound. And
hasn't made the call yet. Now he does.
There we go. Now he makes the call.
Calls for what we believe will be the right-hander, Will Fenig. Fenig, a freshman out of Mason, Ohio. Stands up there at just 6 foot, 160 pounds. A lanky right-hander indeed. He'll make his way to the mound. On the year, he's appeared in 21 games, started a couple games. He's 1-3 with a 4.56 ERA, including a couple saves in there as well. 47 1/3 innings pitched. He struck out 46, walked just 23. Batters hit 289 against him, but he has given up 13 extra bases on the year, including 5 home runs, good for second on the Ohio State staff.
And a good gesture by the Ohio State contingent there, standing up and applauding Seth Lonsway, even though he will be in a position he will be set up for the loss in this game. 1 run over 5 1/3 innings, nothing to be ashamed of, particularly a freshman in your first start in postseason baseball.
I mean, certainly nothing to hang your hat about. His line is not officially closed, but the things that are official: 5 1/3 innings pitched, just 1 hit given up all day. Struck out 6, but walked 7, and that's really what did him in, was the walks and the pitch counts that come with those walks, because most of the contact from Michigan was finding gloves, and that was when they could make contact, which was very infrequent in the early innings. Started to come around a little bit later on, but still a great job by Lonsway, the freshman, starting the first game of the Big Ten tournament for his squad, and is responsible for the runners on base. That jeopardizes his 1 run and 1 earned run given up thus far, but certainly a bright future for the kid if this is his last outing of the season. Probably a contender for Big Ten Pitcher of the Year going forward, as the league's leader in strikeouts this season as just a freshman.
And now Ohio State's defense is repositioned, and now Jimmy Kerr coming back out to second base. Have to imagine Miles Lewis won't be too far behind, as there he goes, making his way out to first base.
When we resume action here, it will be Will Fenig, the freshman right-hander, against Blake Nelson, the senior third baseman. Nelson on the day faced Lonsway a couple times, went 0 for 2 with a ground out and a fly out. It's getting a different look here against Fenig, who doesn't throw as hard as Lonsway, doesn't have the same strikeout stuff, but still does have strikeout stuff, just a little under 1 strikeout an inning for Fenig this season. Both the runners take their leads. Lewis, a big one over at first, not being held. Kerr not as large at second base, and the first pitch is on the outside corner. Nelson, 0-1 is the count. Of course, the advantage righty-righty now flips to Ohio State in this matchup. Though it really didn't seem to matter what side of the plate you were hitting on against Lonsway earlier on. It's the 0-1 pitch, breaking ball misses low. The count goes to 1-1. Big breaking ball there from Fenig. Good put-away pitch for the right-hander all season long. Trying to work out of a jam here and keep this score just 1-0 in favor of the Wolverines over their rival Ohio State Buckeyes. Checks the runner at second, Kerr, before coming set. Now delivers 1-1 pitch to Nelson. Swing and a miss. Both runners are going. The throw to second, or the throw to third is going to be in time to get Kerr. Kerr thinks he's safe. He did a little swim move at third. We'll see if Michigan decides to ask for review.
And Jimmy Kerr's making the headphone gesture. He wants it. And now they've called time. Looks like they are going to look at it.
Eric Backish out of the dugout asking umpires to review it. Jimmy Kerr very, very, very adamant on that one, refusing to leave the third base bag. And we will get a review here as David Ewell and Josh Shepis, the third base and home plate umpires, will head to the review room for the third time in the ballgame today.
They may have. I think he looks like he may have got him on the leg. Because you're right, Jimmy Kerr does swim out of the way of the glove. He doesn't get him on the arm or the upper body.
I think he's safe. Looking at that review, Jimmy Kerr did a little swim move and looked like he snuck the left hand in before the tag was applied by Irwin at third base.
Even if they do overturn this, even if they do overturn and call Jimmy Kerr safe at third, I'm not really a big fan of that decision. Jimmy Kerr, not known for the speed on the base pass, and that throw was well in advance. And really, the only reason Jimmy Kerr may be able to get away with this is because the throw from Dingler down to Irwin was high. But I'm not a fan of that decision at all to go to the go for the double steal. But
it looked like almost a delayed steal with how early that throw was to beat Kerr. Didn't get a great jump. Maybe just trying to make something happen. Eric Backers is very aggressive there.
He's got the hand on there early, too.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking there. Looks like he did get that left hand in there. Reminiscent of Javier Baez at the Cubs. That's broke out that move so many times. Able to sneak in there at third base. We'll see what the call is, but worth noting.
Looking at this right now, it does not get him on the hand.
We've had 3 reviews in this ballgame. One involved Jimmy Kerr in the field, one involved Jimmy Kerr at the plate, and now we have one involving Jimmy Kerr on the base paths.
What can you say? The high-speed camera loves Jimmy Kerr.
That's what it comes down to, I guess.
But they're taking some time with this one. I don't think it doesn't get him on the hand. The question is, does it get him on the hip when Irwin spins the glove around? And that's close enough that I don't know if you have enough there to overturn it. But they're certainly taking their time.
In the meantime, Fennig will throw a couple warm-up pitches. Regardless of what happens, over at second base will be Miles Lewis. Just a matter of whether there's 1 out in the inning and a runner on third as well, or 2 outs in the inning and just that runner on second base. Blake Nelson, that did go down as a strike against Blake Nelson there. It's 1-2 is the count.
I think it may have been a hit and run because Blake Nelson did swing.
I think that might be, you might be right there, trying to get a little action there, hit and run action. Nelson trying to find a hole here. The call, we'll see what we get. He is safe at third base. So what a move by Jimmy Kerr. When you think of Jimmy Kerr, you don't think of speedster and agility, but he shows it off right there. So you got the Nike logo on the big screen showing off the review. And the runners on second and third, 1 out in the inning now for Michigan.
Jimmy Kerr has had himself quite the day today. He's been in 3 reviews, walked twice, including a couple times, and he's the most confident player on the field today. He's authoritatively called everything from pitches in and out of the zone to reaching base.
Infield in for Ohio State now as they prepare for the 1-2 pitch to Blake Nelson. Outfield also playing very shallow, trying to cut down a second run should he find the outfield, and the 1-2 pitch misses low and in to Nelson. It's now 2-2. Big moment in the ball game here. Chance for Michigan to tack on a couple insurance runs, a chance for Ohio State to keep it a 1-run ball game. Going with the freshman Will Fennig is Ohio State head coach Greg Beals. Fennig's going to take a step off here before he fires a 2-2 pitch. Meanwhile, Michigan, someone that's batting over 300 all year long, and Blake Nelson, 312 right now. Trying to get that average bumped up just a little bit here. Coming set. 2-2 pitch. Misses low. It's 3-2. Now an even bigger moment here. You hear some Wolverine fans positioned right behind home plate and right behind the Michigan dugout starting to make some noise. I'd say maybe a good 30 Michigan fans throughout those couple sections. Making the long trip to Omaha. 3-2 pitch. Misses low and away, ball 4.
And now prime position, bases loaded, 1 out. Akeo Thomas walked twice so far in this game. 0 for 0 technically in plate appearances, but now here he is with the bases loaded. If he's able to draw another walk, then you extend your lead, or if you're Akeo Thomas, you're able to rope one down the left field line, you score 2. So
far, for an eventful inning, there's been nothing to do in the field for the most part, aside from that potential caught stealing. Strikeout, now 3 walks, load the bases. First pitch to Akeo Thomas, looked at for strike 1. It's 0-1. Corners for Ohio State still playing in on the infield grass. The middle of the infield, DeZenzo and Carpenter have moved back to double play depth, trying to end the inning without another run coming in. Good first pitch there from Fennig. Another freshman versus senior matchup. 0-1 pitch. Just catches the plate at the knees. And the count now is 0-2. on the diminutive second baseman for the Wolverines.
And you can see it there. Thomas watching that pitch into the glove. He's trying for the walk.
Trying to see the pitches out of Pfennig's hand. Pfennig with the wind gusting against his jersey. Fires one that swung on and missed. K.O. Thomas, strike 3. Big strikeout there from Pfennig. There's now 2 outs in the inning. Ohio State's infield can now go back to normal depth against Jordan Wogu.
And that's a fantastic recovery there by Pfennig, as able to back a K.O. Thomas off the plate and then get him to strike out. Now you have Jordan Wogu. Jordan Wogu 1 for 3 on the day, but he had a big hit to left center field last time he was up. But now Ohio State has an opportunity to get out of a bases-loaded 1-out jam, which is something that Michigan could very well come to regret later if they don't convert.
First pitch to Wogu, fastball, strike 1. As mentioned, Wogu struck out his first 2 times at the plate against the starter Seth Lonsway. And deposited that sharp single into left center field just last inning in the 5th, in which Michigan scored the only run of the ball game. Wogu crouched in the right-handed batter's box. The first team All-Big Ten honoree fouls it straight back above the screen and out of play. Right on that one, but now down in the count 0-2.
And Jordan Wogu has not done well in 2 strike counts so far in the game. Both times he's been when he's had 2 strikes to his name, he has struck out.
The Ohio State contingent now making a little noise from their perch behind their first base dugout. Pfennig comes set, checks the runner at second. Now the fires. This one is muscled off out of play from Wogu, off to the right side.
And really, on all of Wogu's swings and misses, he just looks a step behind. And even there, he's behind that. Just got lucky, got that one off the top of the hilt of the bat, able to get that one out into foul territory.
Yeah, it's exactly it. It almost looked like the same pitches that he was striking out against Lonsway. The difference is that he doesn't quite have the stuff that Lonsway has. And this one was able to catch up to it just barely. Gets one high in the air, now towards deep center field, but ranging over into the right center field gap is the center fielder Wynan, and he'll make the grab in deep right center for out number 3. Again, if the wind is not blowing, I think that's a grand slam right there.
That's another casualty of the wind. There, it's not. Michigan's gotten the worst of the wind so far in this game, but really is disappointing. Another massive missed opportunity for Michigan. Their bases loaded, 1 out, and they are not able to convert, and still they're only ahead by 1 run, a very fine margin.
And no runs, no hits, no errors. 3 left on base for Michigan brings their total up to 9 altogether on the ball game. And thus we will head to the 7th inning of things with Michigan leading Ohio State by a score of 1-0. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast for Michigan baseball here on WCBN Sports. Austin Felco alongside Nick Hornberg bringing you today's action. We'll bring you the action tomorrow's ball game as well. Though if it's late enough, we might have a little bit of a shot of our own Daniel Thompson joining us for tomorrow's ball game, if not later on in the weekend. Of course, that depends on if Michigan can get away with a couple wins or at least 1 win out of these first 2 ball games. Certainly in the driver's seat here with that 1-0 lead.
And not only did they waste the opportunity of bases loaded, 1 out, they wasted the opportunity given to them by Jimmy Kerr calling out that he made a third base. One of the more blatant moments of a player confident in himself calling the shot. And really, Jimmy Kerr has had an excellent game in pretty much every way, and that's a part of it.
Kyle Kaufman still on the mound for Michigan, coming into this 7th inning, thrown just 72 pitches altogether. He'll face the 4, 5, and 6 hitters in this Ohio State lineup, starting off with Brady Cherry, the left fielder. Cherry's 0 for 2 today with a ground out and a fly out.
And I know Canzone has the high average, but Brady Cherry really is the danger. The right-handed hitter, you're more predisposed to hitting balls out in left field. Canzone, the lefty, a lot of it will lean to the right, and the wind can knock down a lot of that. But Cherry doesn't have to worry about the wind if he's hitting over on his preferred left side.
First pitch misses to him, ball 1. Cherry, a breakout season in his senior season, was a mainstay in the Ohio State lineup for his first 3 years, but really broke out this season, batting over 300. Those 14 homers, 45 RBIs lead the team in that category. He fouls the 1-0 pitch back to the screen, and now it's 1-1. Still just the third time through the lineup for Ohio State. Wilgu, just last inning for Michigan, came up for the fourth time in the ball game. The benefit of working quickly and getting through a lot of hitters. As the 1-0 pitch, or rather 1-1 pitch missed low and away with the slider. It's 2-1 now. Kaufman hasn't put many batters on. That's kind of the keys. 1 hit, 4 walks. But letting his defense make plays. This one is bounced off the foot of Cherry. His count goes to 2-2. It trickled out near the mound, but called foul immediately by home plate umpire Josh Shepis.
Yeah, Michigan's defense really stepping up today so far. A lot of times when for the pitchers letting their defense make plays has been a bit of a scary proposition and a bit of an invitation to failure, but really they've stepped up with some excellent plays. Jack Blomgren we've seen make some fantastic throws at second base, and Jimmy Kerr laying out to make a play at first to keep the defense up.
2-2 pitch. Just misses inside. The count runs full, 3-2. They mentioned when Michigan struggled this season away from Ray Fisher Stadium, and even at Ray Fisher Stadium a couple times, it's been the defense that's really led to some big innings. Things just kind of get away from. Hasn't been the case yet here today through 6. 3-2 pitch, fouled off to the right side and just off to our right. Count will remain 3-2.
And see your eyes. I can see you watching it.
I'm ready for it. I said all season long at Ray Fisher Stadium, I just wanted one foul ball up here into the booth. And we had one going a few windows down throughout the season. Had a couple missed by just a few feet. But no one was able to find the window. This one is grounded towards short. Jack Blomgren makes a routine play, throws on to first, and plenty of time for out number 1 here in the top of the 7th inning. That'll bring up the first baseman, Connor Pohl, who's been on base a couple times for Ohio State today. I guess this is the first baseman really showing off today. Kerr's been on base all 3 times. He's been at the plate. Now Pohl so far been on base twice with a walk and a single in the ball game against Kaufman.
Indeed, Pohl, the only Ohio State hitter to get a hit against Karl Kaufman. Jimmy Kerr not able to do that on the other side, though I will argue that the error very well could have been called a hit.
The error to Connor Pohl. This is a bouncer right back to Karl Kaufman on the mound. He fields, tosses over to Jimmy Kerr underhanded for out number 2 in this inning.
I do appreciate Karl Kaufman ranging all the way over before making the light toss. We saw a situation Friday night, I believe it was, against Nebraska last week. Karl Kaufman making a throw to third base over Blake Nelson's head. Ultimately conceded 2 runs, and you could say Michigan lost the Big Ten on that throw.
I think there's a number of factors that go into it there, but that was certainly somewhat of a backbreaker in that ball game. As the first pitch here to Brent Totis is popped up on the right side of the infield. Jimmy Kerr is camped underneath it. He takes a step into the outfield grass and makes the grab for out number 3. 1-2-3 inning here for Ohio State. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. It's time for the 7th inning stretch here at TD Ameritrade Park. Michigan leads Ohio State by a score of 1-0 on the official student radio broadcast for Michigan baseball here in WCBN Sports.
State Farm is the official insurance company of the Big Ten Conference. And now, fans, it's time for the 7th inning stretch. Stand up and stretch out. And please join us in singing, "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
So after stranding a couple runners back there in the 6th inning, Michigan will have a chance again to extend their lead. They'll go with the 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Heart of the lineup in the 7th inning against Will Fennig, who was the one that was able to strand those Wolverine runners. Came in, walked the first batter he saw against Blake Nelson there, but then a strikeout and a flyout got him out of the inning, albeit that flyout. A hard one off the bat of Jordan Wogu. Stayed in the yard here at TD Ameritrade Park. And thus, the score remains 1-0. Jesse Franklin making his way up to the plate to start off this bottom of the 7th inning. No action yet in either bullpen in the 7th inning. Ohio State's throwing a little bit more than the Michigan side, but Michigan's bullpen has been just about silent all day long. Kyle Kaufman, pitch count after that last inning, still just 81 through 7 innings. First pitch, Jesse Franklin here at the knees from Fennig, and the count is 0-1 on the Wolverine left-handed hitting center fielder.
And Jesse Franklin done everything at the plate except get a hit. He's got a walk, a long fly out, and a RBI sacrifice fly.
See if he can break through in this at-bat. The 0-1 pitch misses low and away. The count is 1-1 now. That long sacrifice fly almost got over the head of Brady Cherry in left field. He just kept drifting back near that track and kept going farther and farther as the 1-1 pitch misses outside. He was able to range it down, but had no shot at Akeo Thomas, who came in to score on that sac fly, nor at Jordan Woga, who tagged up from first and went to second on that play. 2-1 pitch to Franklin misses inside, now 3-1. And in his first look at Fennig, Franklin seems to be seeing the ball well out of the right-hander's hand. Righty-lefty 3-1 pitch. Hit in the air towards center field. Routine play it should be for Wynand. He'll make his way into left center field gap, call off the left fielder Cherry, and make the grab for out number 1.
And again, the pace at which Ohio State's pitchers are working is really staggering, as Franklin had his hand over at, up to the home plate umpire Josh Shepis, and really it just turned his head, and then immediately there Fennig had entered his windup, and I think the pace really getting to Franklin there, not able to get his head all the way around and see it.
Jordan Brewer steps up to the plate now, Big Ten Player of the Year. He's had to record a hit today, but did get on with a walk in his first at-bat. Takes the first pitch breaking ball for a strike, 0-1. Walked on 4 pitches back in the first. Flew out to center field on a pretty hard hit ball, but ultimately a routine fly out. And then struck out on 3 pitches back in the 5th. This time he's down the count 0-2 now in his first look at Fennig, as he takes a 0-1 fastball for a strike. Righty against righty now, working quickly. 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Jordan Brewer goes down on strikes for the second time today. That's the second strikeout of the day for Will Fennig. And with 2 outs, nobody on, that'll bring up Jack Blomgren.
And it looks right now like Ohio State's pitching staff, if the early hiccup may have Jordan Brewer figured out a little bit, and that maybe some of it is the tension of postseason baseball, as Brewer, they're really aggressive, swinging at lots of pitches.
Jack Blomgren taking his time, digging into that right-handed batter's box. Maybe trying to throw Fennig's rhythm off just a little bit. First pitch breaking ball misses high, maybe a bit inside as well to the Wolverine shortstop, and the count is 1-0. Blomgren 0 for 3 on the day, flew out back in the first and has since grounded out to the pitcher and shortstop respectively in the 3rd and the 5th. His time takes one that bounces in the dirt, and the count's 2-0 on him. Interestingly enough, Michigan's gone down 1-2-3 only once in this entire ballgame, and it was this hard of the lineup, 2, 3, and 4, back in the 3rd innings. Fennig looking to do the same thing here. 2-0 pitch is a called strike against Blomgren. The count goes to 2-1. Never talked about the uniforms that Michigan and Ohio State are wearing today. Michigan brought out their throwbacks they've worn at home all season long. Normally they're Sunday outfits. As the 2-1 pitch misses high, it's 3-1. Those off-whites, tops and bottoms, Michigan across the chest in blue with the blue numbers below them, and on the back, the white trimming on all those. 3-1 pitch hit in the air towards the right side. That one's going to get foul out of play. The count's 3-2. And, of course, the high socks with the stirrups. The blue stirrups, white socks underneath them with the maize stripes on those stirrups. Really sharp look there. And, of course, as always, you get the blue cap with the maize M. Ohio State in the gray bottoms, red tops, scarlet tops. Gray numbers on the back. Ohio State in script lettering on the front. And a call, strike 3 to Jack Blomgren here ends the bottom of the 7th inning. Couple back-to-back strikeouts there from Will Fenner to get out of the inning. And we will head to the 8th after Michigan went down 1-2-3. Score still remains Michigan 1, Ohio State 0. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast for Michigan baseball here on WCBN Sports. Austin Falco, Nick Hornberg for you on the call. And what has been a very competitive, very well-pitched game for both teams.
And really, you see another example of Michigan team not lacking in confidence. Jack Blomgren starts to go and really didn't react kindly to the called 3rd strike. Really, Michigan's pitchers have shown no hesitation to state their opinion to the umpires. And in cases, particularly in the case of Jimmy Kerr reaching third base last inning, a lot of times it has worked out in their favor.
Carl Kaufman back out for his 8th inning of work. A little bit of action on the Michigan bullpen. From up here, it looks like it's probably Ben Kaiser warming up, the left-hander, but very casually warming up right now, just playing a little catch with what I presume is either Salter or Buckley in the bullpen, the backup catchers for Michigan.
That's kind of surprising if you think about it. Kaufman only stands 81 pitches through 7 innings. Let's say he gets through the 8th. You're in a situation in the 9th. That's Willie Weiss's situation.
I think the thinking here is if Kaufman gets through this 8th inning, or rather has any trouble in this 8th inning and has to face the top of the lineup for the 4th time, that's when you maybe go to Willie Weiss to get out of this inning, or rather Ben Kaiser get out of this inning. You can save Willie Weiss. Just pitch 1 inning because you do have this tournament play, this back-to-back games today and tomorrow guaranteed, and if you lose one of those, or you go 1-1 in those games, then you're on Friday as well. And of course, the potential for 2 games on Saturday, potential for the games on Sunday. You really got to manage the pitching staff and try to limit who you're pitching on any given day. Right now, I think Eric Backer's ideal situation is to let Carl Kaufman finish this ball game off, but just in case that pitch count gets a little too high, it wouldn't be the worst idea to have someone ready in Kaiser, who's just tossing out that way. Zach DeZenzo, the shortstop, is going to lead things off for Ohio State here in the bottom of the 8th. He's 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts against Kaufman. First pitch to him this time is hit high in the air towards deep left field. Ranging over is Miles Lewis near the track, near the wall. Ball bounces off the wall. Lewis is going to have to field it and toss in. It's going to be a leadoff double there for DeZenzo. Ohio State in business with the tying run in scoring position to start off the 8th inning.
And that's where the wind helping Ohio State. The wind blowing the ball away from Miles Lewis in left field and ultimately off the wall of the bullpen.
That ball did just keep carrying and carrying and carrying. Miles Lewis able to keep that ball near him to prevent DeZenzo from maybe getting in towards third base. But, yeah, as you mentioned, just kept slicing away from the left fielder Lewis. Unable to make the play, and Ohio State in great position now. We'll see if Ohio State tries to move him up to third with only 1 out in the inning, with perhaps a bunt here from Widge Wynand. Left-handed hitting center fielder. Big open stance at right-handed batter's box. The corner's playing in for Michigan, maybe expecting a bunt. Kaufman checks the runner, squaring around is Wynand and hits him in the foot. Hit by pitch after the double here, and Ohio State now has 2 runners on, the tying and go-ahead runs. The first 2 batters here in the 8th inning.
And this is where you start to get nervous if you're head coach Eric Bakich. Kaufman conceding the double first off and then hitting Ridge Wynand in the foot. Wynand 0 for 2 so far today. Not what you want to see. But now Irwin, stepping in the bat, has an opportunity with runners on first and second.
Have to imagine here the 9-hitter Irwin probably squaring around to get a couple runners in scoring position for the top of his orders. Benjamin Kaiser now warming up a little bit harder in that Michigan bullpen.
And now Chris Fetter walking out to the mound, Michigan's pitching coach, to talk things over with his Friday starter, Carl Kaufman.
And probably a good idea to slow things down. Kaufman's only thrown 2 pitches in this inning. One was a double off the left field wall, and one is that hit by pitch in the foot of Wynand. So slow things down a little bit for who has been really your ace second half of the season. Even if Jeff Criswell has arguably pitched better, your Friday starter has been Kaufman for the second half of the year, after pitching well enough to win that job away from Tommy Henry, who was great in his own right in the beginning of the season. We'll see who goes tomorrow for Michigan, regardless of if this is a win or a loss, whether it's Henry, who started off the season so hot and has been the number 2 guy for Michigan, or Criswell, the Big Ten first-team all-honoree, who's been absolutely stellar in Big Ten play. Corners playing in again for Michigan. Expecting a bunt from Irwin. He is squaring around. He bunts it towards third base. Making the play over there is Nelson. He'll throw to first for the out to Akeo Thomas. 5-4 on the sacrifice bunt put out. But both runners move into scoring position now. Ohio State really threatening in the 8th.
And Nelson really doing what he had to do right there. The only play there is at first base. And credit to Nick Irwin. He comes up there. He did his job. But now you have a very scary situation with Canzone, the Buckeyes' strongest hitter. Runners on second, third, 1 out, and up he comes to the plate.
Intentionally walking Canzone now are the Wolverines to load the bases, make a force out at home.
I was about to say something about that. I think that is probably the right decision. You have the free base. You give it. You try and play for the double play now. and see what you can do.
Double play out the middle, and I'm sure the corners will be playing in here to try to cut down the run at the plate. Switch hitter Matt Carpenter, the second baseman, who's been on base twice, both of them by fielder's choices, though. So he's hit the ball on the ground a couple times, both to the left side of the infield, a couple of hard-hit balls. Back in the first inning, it was Nelson making a play, getting it out at second. The relay throw was not in time to first. In the sixth was a ground ball over to Jack Blomgren, who couldn't turn it. This was a chopper to the right side. That'll get foul. The count is 0-1 on the second baseman for Ohio State.
And you start off with that first pitch strike, absolutely massive for this at-bat.
Carpenter, the 5'10" senior out of Aurora, Ohio. Redshirt junior, really, out of Aurora, Ohio. Takes his place back in the left-handed batter's box. As I mentioned, Michigan playing with the corners in the middle infield at double play depth. Trying to either cut down the run at home or get out of the inning with double play. 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss on a ball that was low. The count goes to 0-2. Carpenter trying to get that ball up in the air, golfing at it.
Really not really sure why he's opting to make that decision. You try and golf it up in the air, I don't think you'd be able to hit that ball deep enough, especially with the outfield playing in.
Michigan outfield playing very far in right now, trying to cut down either runner at third on a sac fly or the runner at second on a base hit. It's DeZenzo, Winan, and Canzone on the base paths for Ohio State. Carpenter at the plate. Kaufman ready for an 0-2 pitch. Ground ball up the middle. K.O. Thomas going to field. Go to second for one. Relay throw from Blomgren to first base is not in time. Not in time there as Carpenter beats out the play at first. A run comes in to score, and we are tied up here at 1-1 in the top of the 8th inning.
And this is where you rue all the chances you missed on offense. Michigan is stranded. How many runners in scoring position? Too many. They are 0 for 9 on the day with runners in scoring position. Michigan only had one run. Very well could have been 3, 4, maybe even 5. And this is a situation where it comes back to hurt you. You can't really. It's unfair for a pitcher to expect him to pitch 8, 9 innings of scoreless baseball, and you see it there. A very close play. Michigan not able to turn it.
Close play, but ultimately beating it by about a half a step or so was the second baseman Carpenter. Now been on base 3 times at fielder's choice. They have not been able to double him up all day long, and especially right there when they really needed it. So the RBI to Carpenter on that fielder's choice. 2 outs in the inning for Dylan Dingler now. And still a runner on third base if he can find a hole, and that one is into right field for a base hit. Run comes in to score. Ohio State leads 2-1 now on the base hit from Dingler. And now, as you mentioned, you really regret those missed opportunities. That base is loaded, 1 out for Michigan. Now that you're down by a score of 2-1 here in the 8th. Kyle Kaufman State might be coming towards a close as well, with Brady Cherry making his way to the plate. He's 0 for 3 today, a couple of groundouts and a flyout against Kaufman, but Ohio State having a lot more success with these last couple times hitting the ball decently hard against Kyle Kaufman in their 4th time seeing the right-hander.
And then Carl Kaufman, he's looking out into that left field bullpen. Ben Kaiser still standing up there. Looks like they may have another arm up there standing. I'm not sure who that is.
I can't see no one else throwing right now, just Kaiser. Looks like he's ready on the mound should he be needed. As Kaufman comes set for his first pitch to Brady Cherry. It's swung on and missed with a slider. It's 0-1.
And really the difference here is Ohio State 1 for 3 now with runners in scoring position. Michigan 0 for 9, and that is really the story of the game on offense.
Certainly doesn't help at all when you're in such a low-scoring game. The 0-1 pitch is hit high in the air towards center field. It's going to be Jack Blomgren actually making the play. He ranges back into shallow center and records out number 3 here in the 8th. But Ohio State sent 7 runners to the plate overall. They scored 2 runs on 2 hits. No errors for Wolverines left in that inning, and 2 left on base for Ohio State overall. But they do take the lead. Do the Buckeyes here in the top of the 8th. The score: Ohio State 2, Michigan 1. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast for Michigan baseball here on WCBN Sports.
And that's just an inning that can just break a team right there. Carl Kaufman been cruising steady through 7 innings, and then the 8th, giving up that leadoff double on the first pitch. with Ohio State getting a bit of a boost from the wind, and Ohio State able to take full advantage as Michigan suddenly, after looking like they were in control for a large stretch of the game, is suddenly now behind. Michigan only 1 for 22 overall. They do have 8 walks, however, but struck out 9 times. Suddenly the offense is now going to have to wake up and deliver.
For Ohio State, we're going to see a new pitcher in the ball game. Replacing Fennig will be the left-handed throwing Andrew Mango. Mango, the junior out of Dublin, Ohio, so far in the season has appeared in 26 games overall. He's got himself a 4-3 record, 2.64 ERA. He's the closer for Ohio State with a team-leading 10 saves on the year. He struck out 54 batters in 47 2/3 innings. Walked 30, though. If he does have weakness, it is that. Batters hit 226 against the left-hander. Ohio State not messing around here, going to their closer. Looked like they were going to have him ready no matter what. If it was a 1-0 game, to try to keep it a 1-0 game, but now that they have the lead, maybe try to get 2 innings out of them and get that later game tomorrow against Maryland instead of having to play at 9 a.m. against Illinois. For Michigan here, as they're now down by a run in the 8th, they will send up Joe Donovan, Jimmy Kerr, and Miles Lewis, 5, 6, and 7 in the order today, to the plate to try to scratch back into that Ohio State lead. Very low-scoring game, obviously 2-1. Only 4 hits in the ball game overall, 3 for Ohio State, just 1 for the Wolverines. There is 1 error on the board as well. That one belongs to Ohio State and their first baseman, Pohl, over there at first. That could have honestly been ruled a hit for Jimmy Kerr, but ultimately went down in the scorebooks as an error. Michigan's going to have to do it against the closer for the Buckeyes, though, Mango. Despite the name, he has been no sweet treat for batters this season. Joe Donovan will get a look at him here as the first one to face him in this ballgame. Donovan so far on the day, 0 for 3. All 3 of those came against the starter Lansway. Flyout and a couple of strikeouts to bookend that. Lefty-righty, first pitch on the way. This one's hit in the air towards the right side. That'll get out of play near the Ohio State dugout and bounce off the Ohio State dugout. Counts 0-1. And really the leadoff runner key here in these next couple innings for Michigan if they're going to try to tie or take the lead. First pitch, or rather second pitch, misses low. And the count is 1 ball and 1 strike on the Wolverine backstop.
And Joe Donovan really 0 for 3 so far today. Not what you want to see. 2 strikeouts and a flyout. Really not what you want to see when you see a batter trying to get on base for the first time in the inning.
So a sharp hit ball to third base. Fielding it on 1 hop on a knee is Irwin over there. He makes a strong throw to first in time to get Donovan for out number 1. Sharply hit ball, but can't find the hole again, can the Wolverines. Irwin makes a nice play and retires Donovan for the first out in the inning. 1 gone, no one on for Jimmy Kerr. Kerr been on base all 3 times today. Walk, reached on an error, and a walk. Also has his 5th stolen base of the season recorded in today's ball game on that steal of third, which was reviewed and ruled that he did the swim move around the tag. First pitch to him bounces in the dirt and gets passed back to the screen. Count is 1-0.
And that's where you wish you had a runner on base.
We've seen a couple wild pitches be uncorked by the starter Lansway with runners on base.
Here's something interesting. Dominic Clementi is standing in the dugout holding a bat, and he's been taking a couple practice swings.
Following that one off to the left side, that'll get up and out of play into the second deck. The count's 1-1 now on Kerr. You have to figure maybe Clementi, as a lefty, it's a bit of an odd choice against the left-handed throwing Mango. As the 1-1 pitch to Kerr is bounced towards first base, going back into the outfield to make the play is Pohl. He shovels underhand to Mango, covering just in time to get Jimmy Kerr, who is kept off base for the first time in the ballgame today. 2 outs in the 8th. No one on for Miles Lewis.
Michigan is now 0 for 7 on the game with 2 outs as well, and they're going to have to reverse a lot of game-long trends if they want to get back into this game.
Now batting left fielder, number 3, Miles Lewis.
Yeah, as you mentioned, 1 for 12 overall, runners on 0 for 9 runners in scoring position. That's going to really be the killer for them. They've walked 8 times but couldn't seem to get many runners around. First pitch to Miles Lewis here, lefty-righty off the outside corner with the off-speed pitch. The count is 1-0. Mangala Jr., Miles Lewis, the redshirt senior. Hits it in the air towards the right side, ranging over his pole near that side wall. Does he have room? He does have room to make the grab and foul ground for out number 3. Michigan goes down 1-2-3 here in the 8th. They have 3 outs left to deal with. They can keep Ohio State down. The score going to the 9th inning, Ohio State 2, Michigan 1. You're listening to the official student radio broadcast of Michigan baseball here on WCBN Sports.
And now Michigan, story of the game for Michigan, 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position, 0 for 8 with 2 outs, and actually 1 for 12 with runners on base, period. And that's when you have a lot of runners on base through 8 walks. And really, it's just been an extremely frustrating day at the plate for Michigan so far. With the way Carl Kaufman had pitched, it looked like they had it in control once they got that 1 run off of a good stretch. The Akeo Thomas walk followed by the Jordan Wogu single and then the Jesse Franklin sacrifice fly. But now the game is flipped on his head as Michigan makes a pitching change, and not one we were expecting at all.
Not in the slightest. Turns out that was not Benjamin Kaiser warming up in the bullpen for the Wolverines. It was Tommy Henry. Tommy Henry, the left-hander from Michigan, in the ball game here in the 9th inning. Henry, normally the starter for the Wolverines, started off the season as the Friday starter, moved to Saturday. He's appeared in 14 games this season. All of them have been starts. He's 8-5 with a .369 ERA, including a complete game shutout. 35 and a third innings pitched, 95 strikeouts on the year, 21 walks only. Batters hit .234 against them, although they do hit him hard at times. 7 home runs given up leads the team, as does his 22 extra base hits surrendered. So Tommy Henry, did not expect to see him in today's ball game, but I guess that kind of tells you what Eric Bakich is thinking for tomorrow's starter.
And this is a bit of a strange decision to bring Henry in, period, for the reason of, number one, Carl Kaufman, even after a rough eighth inning, has still only thrown 90 pitches over 8 innings. You could even be justified in sending him back for the 9th if you wanted to. Now, I wouldn't endorse that strategy, but it's not one that's impossible to you, especially if you're concerned about bullpen management. And this is part of the lineup that Kaufman has navigated pretty easily. If you want to just use one pitcher for a game, you very well could if you are head coach Eric Bakich.
So lefty-lefty here to start things off. Pole against Tommy Henry, the new pitcher for Michigan. Pole fouls it back off to the screen, and the count is 0-1 on the big first baseman. Tommy Henry, his first time coming in relief in a couple years.
Henry
started off his first season in Ann Arbor as a reliever.
Henry also has the platoon advantage against Pole, but against Totus and DeCenzo, he does not.
Winding up, pitch from the first base side of the rubber. Pitch is an off-speed one that catches the top of the zone. The count is 0-2 on Pole. Pole 1 for 2 today, walk and a ground out, but a single and a ground out, a walk sandwich in the middle there. 0-2 pitch to him this time, fouled back to the screen again. It's now remains 0-2.
The only justification I can find for the decision to put in Tommy Henry is maybe you thought, look, Tommy Henry had a rough month of April and a rough month of May. Maybe your thinking here is just get him an inning and try and get his confidence up in, very well since he's in. Jeff Criswell will probably start tomorrow for Michigan, but get Tommy Henry, get his confidence up and get him going for the weekend.
0-2 pitch is a breaking ball in the dirt, stopped by Donovan behind the plate, and the count goes to 1-2. Willie Weiss is warming up in the Michigan bullpen. So it very well could be a case of getting the lefty-lefty matchup here with Tommy Henry, not wanting to use a guy like Benjamin Kaiser, who you'd probably pitch in a few innings, don't want to get him warmed up, and then not really use him a ton today, as opposed to Tommy Henry, who may have been throwing today anyway, just as a warm-up for a future start, a Wednesday throw day, as they say. 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball misses low again. It's 2-2. I know for a fact I've seen Tommy Henry throwing out in the bullpen on these Wednesday games, or before some of the Wednesday day games at Ray Fisher Stadium. So if he's going to be throwing anyway, you might as well get some action out of him. As he takes a breath here, ready for a 2-2 pitch to pull. It's on its way. Fastball just low. Joe Donovan popping out of his stance, about to fire down to Blake Nelson at third. Blake Nelson looking at Jack Blomgren to ask where it missed. I think Blomgren told him it doesn't think it did. Count is 3-2 though. Henry gets his sign, takes a big breath before winding up at a 3-2 pitch. Misses low and away, ball 4. So working the 7-pitch walk there is Connor Pohl to start off the 9th inning for Ohio State, trying to tack on to their lead. That'll bring up Brent Totis.
And this is where you talked about the platoon advantage. As you said, you maybe look at the dugout over there. Eric Bakich. Can't really see him. I don't think he's in the back on the phone.
Doesn't look like he's going to make any moves. I mean, when you talk about platoon advantage, you don't normally take it into too much of an account for someone that's normally a starting pitcher like Tommy Henry, used to facing batters of both sides. Totis is 0 for 3 today. Strikeout, fly out, pop out. Henry's first pitch here as he's squaring around. Gets past Joe Donovan at the plate. There's another pass ball. We talked about those earlier. That'll bring the runner into scoring position with no one out.
And once again, another nervy late game moment for Michigan's pitching staff.
It should probably go down as a pass ball. We'll see what's officially scored as. It ticked right off the glove of Joe Donovan behind the plate and got passed on ball 1.
That is absolutely a passed ball, yes.
So you get the official announcement of a pass ball there on Joe Donovan. I mentioned he leads the league in pass balls this season, but has been pretty solid elsewhere. Fortunately, hopefully that doesn't come back to bite the Wolverines here. Totis was squaring on the first pitch. Michigan is still expecting him to, with Jimmy Kirk creeping way in at first base. He squares on the second pitch and takes another one that misses high and away for ball 2. Not what you wanted to see if you're head coach Eric Bakich. You bring Tommy Henry in, walks the first batter, falls behind 2-0 on a guy that's trying to give you an out in Totis. And if he bunts it towards Jimmy Kerr charging at first base, could very well fire over to Blake Nelson at third and try to retire Pohl. Squaring around again and pulling back, but taking a breaking ball called strike on 2-0.
And you saw there, I think that may be what they're trying to do. Jimmy Kerr running up, charging straight, and he starts charging before, really when Henry is coming set. Akeo Thomas ranging over to first base. Still looks like first base may be their priority.
There'll be someone over there, but Blake Nelson staying home at third base should that ball be bunted in a spot where Kerr could make a play. See, Anthony Rizzo, the Cubs, loves to charge, one of the most aggressive charging first baseman in the league. And it's kind of talked about, if you can pop one over a first baseman that's charging that hot, like that quickly, you can probably on base with a base hit and move the runner up. Of course, the concern there is bunting into a pop out, as flaring down to second base on a swing and miss, and not getting him there. The throw to third, and getting in there safely is Pohl. A hectic play there. Pohl was halfway to third base on the swinging strike there from Totis. He bunted through the ball. Donovan fired down to second base. Blomgren had to immediately pivot as Pohl went to third. The tag by Nelson was not in time at third base. So a stolen base there from Pohl. He's on base, on third base rather. Nobody out here in the 9th. No review coming. He did get in there ahead of the tag of Nelson. Michigan now with their infield in against Totis on a 2-2 count. Tommy Henry steps off.
If there's a way to apportion blame to that, it honestly probably has to go to Donovan making the throw, try and pick the guy off, and try and pick Pohl off instead of throwing over to third and holding him.
Yeah, you never want to throw behind the runner like that, as the 2-2 pitch misses outside from Henry, 3-2. At the very least, you want to run at the guy and make him choose which way, and then maybe you can get him caught in a run down and make the play, but you cannot do what Joe Donovan did right there. Totis baited him in, or rather, Pohl baited him into it, and he's on third as a result. Full count pitch to Totis now, swinging and a miss, strike 3. Henry gets a much-needed strikeout there to record the first out here on the top of the 9th. That'll bring up Zach DeZenzo, who started everything off last inning in the 8th with a double off the left field wall.
And this next at-bat is huge. Willie Weiss still there in the bullpen. I don't think this is what Eric Bakich had in mind when he put his lefty starter in the game in relief. And now he's got a runner on third with one out. And all of a sudden, a very tense situation in this game in danger of getting a little bit out of control.
Michigan still playing the infield in, going to try to cut down that runner pull at home if they can on a ground ball. First pitch misses for ball 1 from Henry to DeZenzo. DeZenzo was 0 for 2 with a couple strikeouts before the first pitch he saw in the 8th inning from Kyle Coffin was deposited off that left field wall, ball slicing away from Miles Lewis. Started off the rally, came around to score the tying run for Ohio State. He squares on a bunt here and bunts through it. Counts now 1-1. Donovan popping out of his stance and keeping an eye on Pohl at third base. Instead of throwing back to third, though, he did run at him this time. So the count is 1-1 on the shortstop for Ohio State. Henry, the left-handed thrower out of Portage, Michigan. Get him set at the belt. Checks the runner at third. Now the 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss there on an off-speed pitch, and the count is 1-2.
I'm not really sure what Ohio State was trying to do with DeZenzo on that first pitch where he squared around the bunt, and Pohl already looked like he was going, maybe trying even a suicide squeeze.
A bit harder to pull that one off now with 1-2. A lot can go wrong. So you expect to see DeZenzo swinging away as he was there on that 1-1 pitch. 1-2. Check swing. Did he go around? He did not, says first base umpire Jeff Doy, and that one was a close one, but I think he did barely hold up. See if we get a replay here, but the count now stands at 2-2. No reviewing of that one.
Yeah, it looks like he held up. Just watching it back.
So DeZenzo staying in here at 2-2. Henry comes set, takes a breath. Here it comes. Another check swing on one that missed low and away. Another check appealed onto first base, and he went around this time, says Jeff Doy at first base. Another swinging strikeout there from Henry. 2 big strikeouts after the leadoff walk. And with 2 gone in the inning, that'll bring up Ridge Wynand.
Excellent demonstration here by Henry, able to recover and get himself back into a situation where he has control over the inning and can work his way out.
So Ridge Wynand will come up to the plate here. He's 0 for 2, ground out and a hard line out to center. And was hit by a pitch and came around to score what now stands as the winning run at this moment. Back last inning in the 8th. First pitch lefty-lefty from Henry is a called strike with the fastball, 0-1. Henry looked like he could have possibly struck out Pohl to start the inning there. Got a close call, but ended up walking him eventually on 7 pitches. Came back with a full count strikeout of Totis. Now a 2-2 strikeout of DeZenzo. 0-1 pitch to Wynand, misses high for ball 1. And a third run here is low scoring and as anemic of offense as this game has been, would feel like a backbreaker if Ohio State can get it. Michigan shifted slightly to the right side. It's a ground ball right to Blake Nelson at third. He makes the routine play to first base in time for out number 3. So Tommy Henry works out of the runner on third, nobody out jam. But Ohio State does strand that 1 runner and heads to the bottom of the 9th, leading Michigan by a score of 2-1. Last bats for Michigan in this one on the official student radio broadcast for Michigan Baseball here on WCBN Sports.
And as nervy as that was, Tommy Henry ultimately getting the job done, not giving up any runs and putting Michigan's offense in a position where they only need 1 run to tie this game up. But once again, Michigan's offense has been nothing short of regrettable all game long, just 1 for 25. The 8 walks are encouraging. You have Nelson up, who's walked once, followed by Akeo Thomas, who's walked twice, and then Jordan Wogu, who only member of the lineup to have a hit today.
You'd certainly like to start off with one of those first couple guys getting on base, if not both of the first couple guys getting on base. It's kind of been the key for Michigan all game long.
Especially considering that Michigan has yet to get a hit with 2 outs, 0 for 8.
And part of the reason Michigan's been stranding so many runners is they've gotten a bunch of runners on, but only twice have they gotten the leadoff runner on in an inning. The one time they had 2 guys reach to start an inning was the inning they scored their only run of the ball game back in the 5th. I don't think that's a coincidence there. If you're getting runners on early without disposing of outs, you tend to score runs. Pretty simple trope in baseball. Score runs, get on base, don't make outs.
Easy enough.
Simple game. It has been a very fast game. We're still about 22 minutes from getting to the 3-hour mark, in which he would then possibly delay the next game afterwards by a little bit longer. Next game today is Indiana and Iowa. Big Ten champ, regular season champ Indiana against the 8-seed Iowa that snuck in the last weekend there, despite Maryland beating them and getting in that 6th spot. Well, later on tonight, it's Minnesota and Nebraska. Right now, it's Andrew Mingo against Blake Nelson to start things off here in the bottom of the 9th inning. Nelson fouls one off up near us in the booth, and it's 0-1. Nelson on the day 0 for 2, grounded out, fly out, but did reach base on a walk back in the 6th, was ultimately stranded as part of that bases loaded jam that Michigan was not able to take advantage of. 0-1 pitch this time around, hit in the air towards the right side, ranging over is the first baseman pulled, but he's going to run out of room as that one will find the seats as well. The count now 0-2 on the third baseman for Michigan. 3 outs away from having to play a 9 a.m. game tomorrow against a scary Illinois team, the 3 seed, as opposed to a Maryland team that they already swept at 5 o'clock tomorrow night. A swing and a miss here at the 0-2 pitch from Nelson comes up empty, and now there's one gone in the bottom of the 9th inning. K.O. Thomas make his way to the plate, trying to give the Wolverines any semblance of hope. As you mentioned, Nick, he's reached base twice out of 3 times at the plate today, a couple walks, but did strike out back in the 6th on just 3 pitches when he wasn't facing Seth Lonsway, the starter. That strikeout came against Will Fennig, who came in and got out of that bases-loaded jam. Currently probably the biggest moment of the game aside from Ohio State scoring their runs. The first pitch misses high to Thomas. It's 1-0. Mango works exclusively from the stretch and works from just about the center of the rubber. He's about to come set and then steps off for a minute. Now look back in and works quickly as does every Ohio State pitcher we've seen today, and fires another one high for ball 2.
And K.O. Thomas getting out ahead in the count. That's huge because now K.O. Thomas is in a situation he doesn't have to swing at it. He doesn't have to swing at every pitch coming his way.
2-0 pitch. Call the strike. It looked like right at the outside corner. The count is now 2-1 on the second baseman for Michigan. Thomas has been hot over the last couple of weeks, and he bounces one off his foot at the plate there. Foul ball, evens the count up at 2-2.
And Thomas favoring that foot a little bit, taking a moment outside the batter's box.
So coming back there and evening up the count was Andrew Mango there. A nice job by the left-hander for Ohio State in a critical situation here. He comes set, first at the belt, then up near the chest. Now 2-2 pitch. Just misses low there, and the count is 3-2.
Gutsy call by K.O. Thomas holding up on that pitch. That's a very hard pitch to hold up, especially at two strikes in the count. See if he can follow that up and take advantage of it.
Big 3-2 pitch upcoming here. Mango to Thomas. It's on its way. Hit in the air towards left field, slicing near the line. This one's going back, and foul. That one had home run distance for K.O. Thomas, but he hooked it just foul on that left field line, and it's still 3-2. Put a good swing on that one, did a K.O. Thomas, but it could have been fouled by more than maybe 20 or 30 feet into the stands there. It actually bounced into the Michigan bullpen afterwards. So we'll do it again on 3-2. Here it comes. This one's hit in the air to the right side. Much more routine play. It actually be Connor Pohl ranging at foul ground and making the grab for out number 2. So a bit of a deflated feeling there for Wolverine fans. Now there's 2 outs in the inning after they were so close to a game-tying solo shot. That'll bring up Jordan Wogu.
Well, the good news is Jordan Wogu, probably the hitter you want up in the box, the only Michigan hitter to have a hit today, 1 for 4. But the flip side of that is they have no more margin for error down to their last out. And Jordan Wogu, not known for being a power hitter, 9 home runs on the season.
Yes, he did lead the Wolverines in Big Ten play with 5 of them. Takes the first pitch high and away for ball 1. 1 for 4 in the ball game today. Struck out his first couple of at-bats that had a single And a fly out to center. 1-0 pitch, misses high, it's 2-0. He was the one that came out to bat with 2 outs and the bases loaded, hit that hard fly ball to right center field. In all honesty, probably would have gotten out of here if it wasn't for the winds that we've been gusting just about all day long out of that right center field area, out of right field and out of right center field. 2-0 pitch, 2-0 foul, right back to the screen there. Big swing from the Wolverine DH, and it's 2-1. The Ohio State fans, a couple of them making their way onto their feet behind the OSU dugout. We have a couple Iowa Hawkeyes down near the tunnel watching the end of this ball game. 2-1 pitch. Wogu fouls it off his foot now, and it's 2-2. And now the entire Ohio State contingent is making their way to their feet, including, I'm assuming, a family member in a mango jersey down there.
Oh, I see what you're talking about, yeah.
Andrew Mango looking to finish this off, get the save, and send Ohio State on with their first victory in the Big Ten tournament to a game tomorrow night against Maryland. And Mango comes set. The 2-2 pitch. Swung on and hit foul up near our booth here and landing just in front of us. The count will remain 2-2. Wogu just staying alive there on that 2-2 pitch. The Wolverines down to their final strike in today's ball game, in which they would enter then win or go home mode for tomorrow. 2-2 pitch. Hit high in the air towards the right side. Ranging over is Pull. He's over near the wall and cannot get over to make the grab as it fouls out of play. Wogu just barely staying alive there on 2-2. A couple more baseballs brought out to home plate umpire Josh Shepis. The Ohio State fans still making noise alongside the Ohio State dugout. Everyone on their feet on that first base side. Coming set is Mango, 2-2 again. This was a rope right to the third baseman, Irwin, who makes the grab for out number 3. And Ohio State finishes off their rivals Michigan for the third time in 4 meetings this season and moves on to a later game in tomorrow's Big Ten tournament matchup. They win today by a final score of 2-1.
And that's about as frustrating as it gets for Michigan. You looked like you were in control most of the game until finally something has to give, and it does in the 8th inning, giving up 2 runs. And really at this game, you kind of have to put it at the feet of the hitters here, because Michigan throughout the season scoring an average of between 6 and 7 runs a game, and then all of a sudden only being able to score 1 against an Ohio State team that finished middle of the pack in conference play. But the Buckeyes really having Michigan's number this season, and really frustrating to see as Karl Kaufman really put in a start worthy of a win. 2 runs given up over 8 innings. Excellent work by the Wolverines Friday starter, but now at this point you just you can't really dwell on it now. You've used your mulligan now. They cannot lose again, as head coach Eric Bakich just has to get his team refocused for Illinois tomorrow morning. Illinois is a dangerous team. One the Wolverines did not get to face this season, but if you're Eric Bakich, you just tell your team, hey, we finished 2nd in the conference this season. Michigan finished better in the standings than every team in this field save Indiana, and that's what you take in. You just got to calm them down, remind them how good they've been this season, and just put what is really one of the more frustrating losses of the season behind them today with the loss against Ohio State. However, the early morning game will be a killer.
Final line score state: Ohio State scored 2 runs on 3 hits, committed 1 error. Michigan 1 run on 1 hit, and played a clean game in the field. Will Fennig gets the win, moves to 2-3 for the Buckeyes. Karl Kaufman takes an unfortunate loss and bumps down to 8-6. Andrew Mango gets his 11th save of the season and propels Ohio State, as you said, into the later game tomorrow. So Ohio State moves on to 5 o'clock tomorrow night against the Maryland Terrapins. Meanwhile, Michigan moves on to tomorrow morning's game with the number 3 seeded Illinois Fighting Illini. That'll be a 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 p.m. Eastern start. Myself and Nick Hornberg will have the call for you in that ball game tomorrow and throughout the rest of Michigan's run in this Big Ten tournament, should it last beyond the Thursday games. Grand final score here: Ohio State 2, Michigan 1. A crushing loss for the Wolverines, but they still have life in the Big Ten tournament. We thank you for tuning in today. For Nick Hornberg and myself, Austin Falco, and all of us here at WCBN Sports. Thank you again for listening in. We leave you with a good night. And as always, a Go Blue.